Oh, ma.
Yeah.
Hello, all of
Hello.
you hungry people on the internet, and welcome to another show, Dice. Different this one, we are doing a different sauce. This time we are playing a game, and we are playing with our previous magnificent guest. Who wants to introduce themselves first? Let's go in clock order, Aida.
Oh, hello. Hi. My name is Aida. My pronouns are she and her. I am a Latina woman of color. I have tan skin, dark eyes, floofy dark hair. I am wearing a white T-shirt with some bright orange Bolivian cloth on top. I'm gonna popcorn it, Luyu.
Hi, my name is Luyou. My pronouns are she, her. I'm an Asian American woman wearing a red linen shirt, and I'm happy to be here today. Markus.
Hello there, good time zone, everybody. My name's Markus, pronouns are he, him. I am a pale Caucasian male wearing a dark blue shirt, glasses, a beard, and dark hair. And I'm already hungry for the coming session.
Yes. And I am Arsene, your GM for the evening.
Oh.
Caucasian male with a mask and a beard and an official Wilderfeast apron. That
Woo!
is not fastened because I have a stomach.
That
Today
is
we will play a wonderful little game of Wilderfeast. Now, Wilderfeast is a game about hunting monsters and cooking them with love, of course. Our belly is full of love. So, for this, we need to have hunters. In this game, they are called wilders because they are a little part of this wild, wild world that is the one land. And we have already created these characters. This sound, they all sound wonderful. A really nice group. And this time we will go counterclockwise and start with Marcus. Can you introduce your character to us, please?
Of course. I will be playing Kerponil tonight, pronouns are she, her, and Kerponil is also known as Carrie to her companions. She's a very headstrong, brave, and maybe sometimes a little bit rash decision maker. Tall, athletic woman with ginger hair, freckles, and talking about wild aspects, there are these antlers that grow from her forehead with that kind of curve over her red hair. And if you're familiar already with Wilderfeast, they're kind of like the antlers of the Goliath that's also in the core rulebook of the game. So that's a Kerponil or Carrie. Luyou, who will you be bringing?
Bouncing alongside this tall woman is a fairly short man, except for when he fully extends his jerboa legs. His name is Ningao, and you see he is a fur-covered, sort of like tan man. He is Winnie the Poohing it a little bit because he has like a top, like a yellow and orange top, like a Chinese style. But he doesn't have anything over his legs besides the stuff he needs for his prosthetic leg, and nothing else because it's very stifling to cover it. Besides that, he has a giant spool of what looks like twine or thread on his back, and he's bouncing along, gazing lovingly at his beautiful wife.
hello. I am waifu. Waifu is laifu. Being gazed upon is a very brown skinned, leathery skinned female presenting person. Very short, wide, stout body, uh, very pear shaped, with very, very dark, long, thick braids with all sorts of like tassels and pom poms woven into them. On her back is this huge, giant. Um, I know what kind of fantasy setting in this game, but imagine like a rocket engine strapped to her back, and this is a giant torch, and it is tied up in this sort of cloth, just like wrapped around her back in just this. And that is Sisa Sunny, whose pronouns are she and her.
Perfect, we have. And a little known fact about this game: each character background is made meals, of meals that characterize them. And well, I couldn't help but ask during character creation, but what was the meal at the wedding?
Arsene, gaze upon it. There is a stewed nyangao, winter bamboo, winter melon, egg and chive dumpling, and potato soup or stew, and it is in a mixture. Like the broth is a mixture of uh, like chilies and also Chinese flavors, so it's really really hot. Did I make this 2 hours before the stream? Yes, I did. There you go.
It looks amazing, Luyou. And when we were figuring out how we can put both of our player heritages into this soup, it's like, of course, both our cultures have a soup where you just toss in literally everything, and it's eaten at celebratory events.
Mhm.
So just make it more happy.
Exactly.
Of course, she has it. Not only does she does dish for in-person game, but now for the online games too. Is it is a shame that we can't be there to eat it too. But
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
not sure it will go easy into a cardboard for receiving it at home.
I
Sadly.
I, I
I
wonder.
don't think Uber drives all the way from here.
I wonder how this was the soup that was served at the wedding between me and Sisasani. Uh, did our friend Carrie, was she good at spicy food?
Oh.
Well, Carrie is a trooper. She wants to be there for her friends, and she had a beautiful day at that wedding when it happened. And she did, of course, partake in the soup. And she enjoyed it for her friends because she loves them. And thinking back to that soup still makes her happy because her friends make her happy. And this is a very roundabout way of saying, no, Carrie does not deal well with spiciness.
Follow-up question to Pierre, to our little Chaponil. I feel that in this world, you don't bring a small gift to the wedding, you bring small dishes. What was the dishes you bought as a gift to them?
Carrie is from her growing up on basically hopping the mysterious and majestic arc steel trains that ride this land along the ley lines. Carrie's been a scavenger. And when Carrie cooks, the meals look like they're scavenged from little bits of ingredients that were available because in her time growing up, she worked with the materials she had. So one thing she did bring was just something she called her surprise casserole, which could contain every possible ingredient and perhaps maybe due to her poor time management skills was maybe made like a few hours before the wedding. But no one cares about this. It was good. It had different kind of meats, different kinds of vegetables, and most importantly, so-called rat bread in it. Well, red bread might sound a little bit not delicious, but it's actually a specific kind of fungus, little shell fungus that for some mysterious reason grows very well in the old engines of these arc steel trains. And she always has a bit of that on hand. It has a bit of a meaty texture to it and a little bit of a zing. And that's always that little surprise in the surprise casserole.
a zing. Zings are good, but along the side of the wedding soup was probably like, I want to say easily a dozen, probably not exaggerating, at least a dozen little bowls of like half, half one heritage and half the others. Let's zing it up because the soup wasn't spicy enough. That was just like for guests level spicy.
Well, now you know that yeah, tolerance to spice isn't that great. Game that only means that now you need to level it up. More spice. uh, and you know, just to add a little context, how long ago was the wedding? Sort of, more or less. Like, is it recent, or has it been sort of 1, 2 years? Some time has passed since. Are you still in the honeymoon phase? Are you still, or are you mature, or is it been already 5, 10 years of marriage?
And
Hmm.
and Ida, you tell me if you have different thoughts. We
Tell
didn't
me.
specifically talk about this, but in my mind, we're not newlyweds. But Ning Ao is no one if not a lover's lover. I am kissing her hand every night. I am making coffee in the morning. I don't care if it's been
It's a
10
Morticia
years.
Gomez kind of relationship.
Exactly.
Yes,
I'm
Yes,
I'm
yes,
a
yes.
lover's lover, okay? Yes.
Perfect. I love it. So the wedding may as well been yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
You redo the wedding once a month.
We have the soup once a month.
Yes.
I'm a true wife's guy, okay?
Shout out to all the wife guys.
Yes.
There are a lot of those in Euphoria, as we can see in the Discord. Ah, what a nice little pack of Wilder. But now that we've joined the wedding, let's change the tone a little. Today we start with a funeral. Today we start with a funeral in the trees. Page 2 village is one of the main villages that you can see in the woodland on the central coast, on the, follow me for the pronunciation, of the Sea, the gnarled wood. This is a peculiar village because it's not on the ground. It's a village entirely on the trees, with a community of hunters that live there, that are allies to the wilders, due to both of them not being very liked by the charters that want to regulate this thing with insipid botched meal. Yes, bad conglomerate, bad. Your food is bland. How dare you? But a village on the trees with wood planks everywhere to support the village, with a system of not escalators but of lifts to go up, to go down when they need to leave, to sort of protect themselves. And like I said, this is a village of hunters. And sometimes the hunt, especially when monsters are at a minimum 3 times your size, sometimes you come, sometimes you don't come back. In this case, well, this is mating season in the forest. It's a lot of activities and a lot of troubles too, because, well, you know nature, you know a time where their monsters are a bit more imprevisible than useful, a bit more rowdy in when both males are trying to clone the same females, which can cause problems in the environment. But the forest is used to this. This is close to the mating grounds of many monsters. This is regular every year. But this year, there are more sounds in the forest. This year, it sounds like monsters from a little on the mountain, a little off the coast, some that you don't see a lot, more than it seems, a cacophony, a brouhaha, a melting down pots of noises from around the forest that are just ringing about. Seems like something is agitating the lot of them. This is bad because, well, if this is a frenzied monster causing this, well, this is a lot of monsters to infect, even if we don't really know how one gets infected, but usually it comes with this. What is the frenzy? Well, there's no, well, not they don't know well what it is, but they certainly deal with it a lot. When a monster is frenzied, a magical illness whose origin are still shrouded in mystery, and whose Wilder is the only one who knew how to cure, well, not really. This is basically rabies. Once you got it, it's gone. You can do anything. Unless you caught it at the very start, there is nothing you can do. The only solution is death. This is the only future for infected monsters. The problem is with said death, they infect others with their meat, they infect the environment around them, and spread the frenzies. Or worse, they don't die, and they become apex predators that are fundamentally altering the ecology, ruining the ecosystem. That's why they need to be dealt with, especially in such a fragile moment that is the mating season. So hunters went to try to look at which monsters it was that was frenzied, and only one returned from this. A friend of the group, a well called Aida, Aida Sea Son. She was the main liaison between the group and the village. And she came back, well, hurt. Very hurt that no medicine could help her in time. And so here we are now. You received a letter and were invited to the funeral. A funeral in the Peku village is a peculiar thing, especially with the sort of religion of this world. There is both a meal and the I don't know the word right. I don't. The words elude me right now, but the burying of the body. I don't have a more elegant way to say it in my head right now. Damn you, ESL. You are invited to take part in this ceremony. In Peku village, the bodies are buried between the roots of the trees of the village to make the trees just strong to expand, so that the trees maintain the strength of the one who was buried there when they were alive. And up on top, there are meals to be offered to Lady Caldrem the Butcher, the Lady of Knives, the patron of the dead. Everyone offers their meals to the dead, to the Lady of the Dead, so that the deceased can live a good afterlife. It usually a prayer to the god is in one form. You have one arm crooked before tea. Level with your stone. I just need to check. One arm, like a waiter, basically, in a way, with the meal on the face. For tea, Lady Caldwell, I offer this roasted paprika grinded head on a flour toast. I ask that our friends Aida finds good travels in this afterlife we know, and may her roots grow strong. May we eat and be satisfied.
May we eat and be satisfied.
In this religion, you can eat the meals offered to the gods because you know that the essence of the meal goes to them, while it is disrespectful to waste such a food. It is more respectful that you partake too. So you can eat this, or you can, if you want, offer your own meals or mingle with the rest. This is a moment where I let you free. What do you do?
Well, knowing that this is a funeral, I think that Ning Ao would have come prepared with some um, parcels of uh, vaguely angular shape. There, it looks like it's flint rice and it's wrapped inside bamboo leaves. You smell something fragrant within. And you see that he stands in front of Lady Cowgram the Butcher, her
Yes,
shrine, I believe.
yes,
And
Lady Caldwell.
great. And he stands like with his hand out, the plate of Niangao in front, or sorry, of Zhongzi in front of him. Um, this is a food that's typically floated down the river for spirits, but presumably should be palatable, if even if not floated in water. He will present it to the shrine and say some words of thanks, give a bow, and head off to find wherever the twin tails and pom poms of his beloved are.
Um, Sisa Sani is, I think, going in that direction, kind of pulling Carrie along, and gives Carrie this uh, big piece of bread. And it's sort of shaped like a person. So the bread, it's a flat bread that is has a head, arms, and legs. But in the middle is like this little clay face that is kind of crudely but a little nicely painted. And Carrie is holding a rather big one, and there's some red food coloring that sort of resembles Carrie's hair. And Sisa Sani is holding two smaller ones, which are Sisa, um, her wonderful husband Ning Ao, and we're like, we have to go leave this, so that Idar has friends to play with in the afterlife. Come on.
Carrie Carrie wanders after Sisasani, looking at this humanoid-shaped flatbread, and heads over towards the shrine, or well, the funeral side where we can leave these meals. But she also already has reaches for her belt where there's like a little satchel with salt crystals in it, which she will also, once they are at the shrine, would like to offer to the dead as well.
So Sisa Sani definitely leaves the bread, the sweet breads of Idar's. I guess we were all friends, so this is Idar's friends. So a sweet remembrance, so that if Idar's spirit comes back, they have immediately something to feel nourished on, and not just something delicious, but the memories of what we had together.
The salt crystals that Carrie puts down there as well, they have a bit of a bluish tint to them. Rather large chunks of salt that you would have to crush in your hands to actually put on top of food. But the salt, this lay salt that she has with her, is symbolizes a sense of conservation. Salt is used to conserve food, but in this here, it's the conservation of memory, of that those who leave aren't truly gone as long as we keep to the memory of them.
No, thank you. Carrie, it's very crowded in here, so if you just stay still, Ning Ao will find you. I mean us.
You see hopping like a head and a little bit of fur, and then eventually like some twine wraps around like a tree, and like hoisting himself up and like looking around like a dog that's missing its owner. Eventually he goes and you see the twine lets down, and you start hearing and then seeing hopping, just appearing over the sea of people, disappearing, and eventually Ning Ao finds the both of you, and you look down at him as he says, there you are, my love, and hi, Carrie.
I think he found us. Carrie points at Ning.
You are not allowed to die. If you die, I will hate you.
Well,
No, that's not true. I can't ever hate you.
I would never do anything to make you hate me, mi amor. So
don't die.
I won't.
No
Well,
dying.
Statistically speaking, 1 out of every 8 Wilders who goes out has some kind of tragic incident. And statistically speaking, love for each other is not a good way to be protected from the dangers of the wild. So what I'm trying to say is, no, please don't die.
I understand. Let's try not to die together.
But it's still a grim reminder to the fact that we do have a dangerous profession.
Mhm.
And I wonder, the creature, the monster that did this, are they still out there?
Well, if they are, I know that there's someone we can ask about that. Do we know, Arsene, do we know what Aida or Hadar, I couldn't tell, where they are? You said that they were the main liaison and they are injured, but not dead.
This is a funeral for Aida.
Oh.
One liaison. That's why you are here.
Lady Calgrim?
Okay, so
Lady Calgrim is the name of the god of the dead.
Yeah.
That you pray to.
Okay, so we don't know anything about this monster.
So you don't know yet.
Okay, sure.
That means, and
Mhm.
there are a lot of people in this.
Yeah, Carrie is just already like, she's standing there, she's looking around as you think that she puts like one fist in her open palm of the other. That means it's investigation time.
You just see Ning Ao give a big fat sigh, and then he reaches out, takes his twine, ties it to your pot, and just goes, "Okay, go ahead," and just starts rolling the twine so that wherever you go, I can eventually find you.
Is the twine like? Is it attached to one of Carrie's antlers, or where do you attach the twine in this case?
Well, what would be comfortable for you? I imagine you attack with your antlers, right?
Well, I didn't mention this in our opening description, but Carrie also has this. I can curse on Euphoria, right?
You can curse on Euphoria.
Okay, I have this big fuck off pan on my back, and it's like there's like these. It's just gigantic. I don't even know the exact dimensions, but it's almost comedically large. But the pan also
it can basically protect almost your whole body.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and the pan also has like this this drawing carved into the metal. So if you look at Carrie's back, you see that there's like this chibi version of her carved into the pan, doing this victory, this peace symbol,
cute.
and it's just like this chibi version of her face. But there's also some she doesn't really polish the pan often. There's also like these stains all over it. You can tell like what were the last 3 monsters the group fought because there's
It's
still
a
like stains.
patina.
Yeah.
A
exactly.
patina, that's
All
what
right.
Carrie
All
keeps
right.
telling
What were the
everybody.
last 3 monsters you fought?
Oh no.
Oh well, there was a bunch of them. So there was this
Yes.
one time when we had this Jama Jama, a gigantic frog that we had to fight. Very glad for Ning's Twine there. That was really came in clutch. I think perhaps Sisasani got a little bit trigger happy with that flamethrower, but we'll talk about that at a certain point.
Frog legs.
Then there was also that
Frog
time we had the
legs.
flint knuckle, which is this large orangutan creature who could like just had these massive fists and everything. Very exciting. We all had a laugh afterwards. And the last thing that you see are just still like remains of these orange bluish feathers stuck to the pan from a kakwari, which is basically a giant bird. And I imagine it can make a very annoying sound. I would imagine if I look at the art of this
Kakwari
creature.
is basically a steel secretary bird. Like,
Okay,
imagine
so
a massive secretary bird that has a tail feathers like peacock but of steel.
perfect.
And
Those
claws
tail
of
feathers
steel.
are still stuck into the pan there, like really stuck in there. So yeah, it's not a beautiful sight.
Yes,
But coming
mhm. So
coming back
So,
to the
ba-
twine
so basically,
question.
Yeah,
the pan is this.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This
Marcus?
So
is
the
the cover for the GM stream.
the twine question, if Ning wants to, the twine can be attached to the antler if whatever is best for
I'll
for
attach
Ning.
it to the handle of the pan, but what I'll say is even if I didn't attach it to any part of you, hearing Carrie yap to everyone about the monsters that she's bashed with the pan, I feel like Ning could eventually find her anyhow. So
We
Yeah.
just have to look up.
exactly.
Just follow the yapping.
So are we basically as a group trying to like ask the people here, the
Yeah.
townsfolk, to find out like what is this creature
Well,
that's still out and about?
First off, I would like to say that I didn't expect an answer at my question of which 3 monsters did you fight. But since you read the book and told 3 monsters of this book, it's nice. It's nice. I don't
I
have
like to do my
anything.
homework.
Ah, yes, you did. Good job. You have an A minus for now.
Minus.
Well, yes, because the game has only started. There is
Ah,
room
okay.
for improvement.
Okay.
All the questions have not been filled out yet. That's why.
Mm.
So I'm imagining the three of us are going around town here.
I don't think you need to go too deeper. This
Cool.
is relatively a small village. And, well, you know there is a chief that you can ask, at the very least, that should know where they went when they first came.
To the chief then.
Yep.
The chief! Da-da-da-da. So, this was in my notes.
Was.
Yes. Because due to an application problem, it was not anymore in my notes, and it was not on my paper notes in my secret boot of GMing. I don't. What's the name I gave the chef? So tricky. Name from another scenario. Save me. Yes. All right, Mu Ang.
Mm-hmm.
This is a secret. You just pull all the pre-made scenario and put a name in there. So Mu Ang
Mm-hmm.
is, well, this is a late 30s, start of the 50s woman with already well-grayed hair and a stern look on her face. The stern look that seems to be carved out of her. This is really the default face she has. And you meet with her while she is in mourning. How do you approach her?
Is she where's she? Is she like in her home? Is there like some
She
kind
is
of
part of the funeral, right? This is
okay.
she is part as a chief. She can't not be part of this in the village.
In that case, she will feel a tap on her lower knee as
Lower
reaching
knee.
up with a hand from the ground, which is where I am because I'm short. I am offering one of my um, preserved bamboo nyanga or zongzi rolls. Since we can eat this food, I figured it would be nice to bring her one.
Remind me, how tall are you? That you it's on
If I'm not springing on my jerboa leg and prosthetic, it's keeping me pretty squat to the floor.
for comparison with Sisanani. Sisasani. Sisasani. Correct?
Yeah.
Where do you reach on her? Do you reach the highs? Do you reach her head?
I think I reach her hips.
All right.
Like a meter tall, it sounds like.
I'm a short king.
All right. Short king. Yes.
Shout out to all the short kings.
Shout out to the short kings.
And a sort of good for the 8 ratio of Morticia and Gomez in the original comics. Yes, nice to this that when we talk short, we talk very short. All right. That's thank you for clarifying. Back to the game. So, then, yes, no, that's yes. How are you doing right now, my dear Wilders? You were close to our hunter, I think.
we we're mourning for our friend Idar. We we had many more meals in our future. We had many more sit downs in our future. We had many more toasts in our future, and it is very sad that we cannot have them with Idar anymore. And and I'm sure that so that someone else in this village doesn't have to have the loss of their friends to their meals, to their merriments, to their toasts. I think the beast that took Idar down should be contained, should be taken care of. Tell us what you know, please, and I think we're the people to do it.
Well, right. No, okay. Well, right now, it realized the forest is a powder keg. We are used to the fires that burn. I don't know why so many monsters that use fire in their life live here. But right now, with this monster that is perturbing all of the mating seasons, exacerbating all the already violent instinct of some during this period, it feels like the forest is a powder keg.
You're right. The forest is a powder keg. All the more reason to have these
Yes.
seasoned and tempered
Uh,
Wilders address it, and pointing at our collective group.
yes, it will be very good because, well, even for us with the forest in this state, we can't hunt safely anymore for our own food. This this session this can't end well for anyone if this is killed. And most of all, it will provoke an end sooner rather than later. I don't know what will happen of all the, well, not frenzied in this case, but certainly agitated monsters. I don't know yet exactly which monster it is that we are hunting right now.
But can you
I,
put us in the right direction? You're telling us a lot about powder
well,
kegs here, and we have
I can
some
tell you
experience with powder
where the
kegs.
hunters went, and you can find tracks there. The
Tracks.
monsters or hunters were going in the direction of the mating grounds. They were going to Yi River to go to the wallowing grounds. That's where they were going. I don't know exactly where they were mm, intercepted, where they encountered the frenzied beast, but that is the direction that they went towards.
This is a morose question, so above the table. Um, do we know the injuries that Idar died of? Like, I'm not asking for details, but were they clawed, burns, acid, bites?
Good question.
Well, in part, it looks like it was attacked by multiple monsters.
Hmm.
Usually, well, they have a lot of different options for fighting, but most of them, well, when they know how to cut, they usually cut. When they know how to pummel to the ground, they usually pummel to the ground. They have when you have claws, you have no need for a fist. This was not the case here. It seems like multiple, but most of all, it looked like our poor little Ada was constricted. Not like our Asigawa snake, that is a bigger, by something smaller. Our main worry right now is that this is the work of a Kalakala. The Kalakala is a arboreal frog monster. It is a large amphibian that goes on trees that is on average 2 meters in length, but monsters, when they are frenzies, tend to, well, get more aggressive and grow a little bit. So you can double that. You can imagine in 4 meters. I don't know what that is in freedom units. So
You knew I didn't know what 4 meters meant.
I invite you to look at your ceiling that is usually around 2 meters something and double it.
It's also about 13 feet if we want to have it in feet.
Uh, this is a good European channel. We use real units here.
Okay, so multiple monster wound types, but
You
mostly
know that
constricted.
one of the main ability of the Kalakala is its vocal mimicry.
Vocal.
This is something you know that it's an animal that can mimic a lot of other things that they heard.
So it's sneaky, it's devious, it'll try to trick us.
Well, usually frenzied monsters aren't in the head for tricks. They are more aggressive than that, but that doesn't mean they can be an ambush or something.
Okay, so we're going to really need that big AF pan. We're really going to need all of my darling's twine. And we're going to need to, superhero pose, whip out the giant flamethrower. Fire!
Not in the twist, not in the twist.
Uh, Sasani turns off the lead light, the pilot light.
Not in the. Please, my dear visitor, not in the trees in a wooden village, please.
Well, one more reason for us to get going then. I think some of us are getting a little bit anxious to use their fiery weapons. And if we know that it's a Kalakala we're looking for, we know what to look out for. And Carrie is like not even waiting for a response. Both of you, the fellow wilders, would be used to that from her. She's very much like, I have the smallest tidbits of information. I'm going out now. you follow her or you don't. And she just wanders away
Goes.
from the chieftain.
Yep. So Carrie leaves. Before Sisasani and I head out, I'll just say, thank you so much for the information. And hopefully, to prevent more wallowing, we head now to the wallowing grounds. And we're out.
Wow.
Let's go.
So you are already close to the Yaige River. So this will be the first region we will start in. This is the 12th part of the game, the one that changed the most between the treat start and the official rulebook. How does this work? Well, first, I think we will need to establish a kitchen manager, the one who keeps track of everyone's ingredients. The only inventory in the game are the ingredients.
I got it.
Right now, you don't have a lot. You have, by default, 3 of your staple ingredients and 1 of your staple spice. So can you just, for our little Luyou, or I guess Ninghao that does not, Aida, what is your staple ingredient and what is your staple spice?
Um, Sisasani's staple ingredient are potatoes. So wrapped up in that big bulking thing on her shoulder is also a plethora of all sorts of big potatoes, little potatoes, red potatoes, purple potatoes, long potatoes that have ridges, round black potatoes, chalk-like white potatoes, a lot of potatoes.
Potatoes for days! And your spice?
And spice is something that is not actually used in food, but is more of a spice for your body and for doing well. Is she has within the sachets a lot of dried coca leaves. So it's not necessarily a spice that you put in food, but it's a spice you put in your mouth, and it keeps you energized, oxygenated, like a caffeine burst as you keep chewing it. So it's a spice for your soul, spice for your energy, spice for your body.
It will be in the food. Because as a
Yes.
spice, it has a nice effect. But we will see that later if we cook.
Yes. You
It
sort
better
of
be
chew on it beforehand, and it energizes you, cleanses your palate, and wakes you up, and that makes you receptive to all these other flavors or things happening in life.
Marcus, what is your staple ingredient?
Well, it's different. Marcus has a different one than Kerpenil does. Carrie's staple ingredient is the rat bread, the special fungi, these little shell fungi that seem to grow very well in the engine rooms of the arc steel trains. So she always has like a few slices of those, and they're really great if you saute them a little because they have this meaty structure to them as well. And the spice that she has with her is also the same that she put down at the funeral. This lay salt. I mean, we could argue if salt is a spice, but this lay salt has a little bit of an extra bit of spice to it. It's you have to be really careful in how much you put into the food because it can easily like overwhelm all the other tastes. But just a little bit of it, just Salt Bay like, drip it in there, and it adds to the flavor of every meal.
And I'll say finally, for Ning Ao, his staple ingredient is flint rice, which is a deep bruised purple and like almost blue tinged long grain rice that can be pounded and cooked like in many, many different ways. And his spice is roan hearth paste. It is like a deep, almost jammy paste. The color is like it looks like the mottled body of like a roan horse. So it has like sesame seeds and like other aromatics. You smell hints of ginger and other rich flavors, and maybe even a little bit of shrimp paste. And it has it gives kind of like an umami deep kick to any dish. Not too spicy because my beloved has all of the spice we need.
Well,
Go.
like Markus said, salt can be a spice.
Hmm.
So I think that now that you are going down the lift, preparing to go towards the Yangtze River, I think this is a good point for a first short break before we start the trail.
The trail. So be back soon. Bye
I think,
bye.
and we already started with the couple. This will be, I think, a recurring theme in this episode of, well, wife guy and behavior. So we are, and let's talk about what the 12 part of the game is. The 12 part of the game is the part where you are looking for twice for the monster. Easy enough to understand. It is done in travel rounds, one after the other, with a challenge that you all need to pass at the end. First, you can, it is optional, navigate. That means before you trying to move through the area to go to another, well, you are trying to learn how to. For example, you can learn how to forage for ingredients, which is useful when you try to stop to forage for this ingredient. Learn safe way to travel, because if you don't learn this safe way, you may end up hurt while trying to traverse to this. And you can look for tracks of the monsters. Tracks of the monsters that will give you informations on the monsters. This is the first part. Then you can decide to gather supplies, as I say, that is first forage, then cook a meal at a little camp you made. Usually this add more tips, more travel rounds to your thing because you take time to go. So if you are on a deadline, it can be a risky choice. But it's the way to make snacks that will replenish your health and give you basically potion effects. And then you move on. You do. Everyone will try the challenge. When we're talking challenge, everyone participates. Everyone does, and how many points they get on the action die to be seen later will be added, and together you need to reach a certain challenge. Usually it is 5 multiplied by the number of wilders. So for most of the region here, it will be 15 to surpass or to just go at with all 3 of you. So something that is possible. But depending on the luck of the dice, you may need to go wild or not. You move on anyway. You move to the other region, whether you succeed or not. But whether you succeed or not, decide if you take more or less damage because you didn't use safe way to traverse, and if the next event will be peaceful or dangerous. That is basically the 12 part, with more detail depending on what you decide. Now, I established earlier the situation as a powder cake. So, well, you can guess that there is a clock on that is on this little sheet here. I have this nice little, and something will happen when it goes full. When it goes full version, something will happen.
That means the cake is ready, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, let them eat cake, as she said.
Well, as we are traveling through this area, um, I think Ninga would say, unless the two of you are feeling particularly peckish, I don't feel like we necessarily need to cook. He pulls out his bag. I pilfered a lot of the food from the funeral party
But,
tables.
ooh,
So if you want these little buns or sweetbreads, I have some. But I think the best thing we can do is get through this as safely and quickly as possible. I think Carrie agrees. Safely and quickly, right?
What was that? You said quickly? Yeah, let's do it quickly.
All right.
I think it's this way. And Carrie is pointing into a direction just on on a whim. But
Mhm.
perhaps also as like perhaps any kind of check I can do on this first part of the trail.
well, first, so you decide to navigate to try to see how does this work navigate. To learn how to forage and how to travel, you look at the communities in place. And when I say communities, I mean both monsters and human. So, first of all, this area has forest, a canopy that you can, well, when you try to travel here, you make a grab instead of a traversal. And it also has the river with an underwater area that you can access if you are flying or swimming. Don't ask me why flying too.
Mhm.
But the EA River is one of the biggest rivers of the Seine coast that descend from the mountain up to the sea, broad enough to fit an entire village. It is, well, it's now in the winter time because it's in winter that the mating season happens here. So it has not the same width as you are used to. You can see some of the old vegetation algae on the side here, but it is still a river with a lot of little boats traveling around because it goes across the region. And you can see because of the irrigation from the river, you can also see some agriculture around here. This is the basically what the region looks like. Small little hills surrounded by the river and in the forest around.
I want to find the best way through that and
All right.
not per
So,
se one that has to be the safest, but the one that gets us quickest
well,
to the destination.
so for our viewers, how the game works, they are four styles, which are ways to do things. Might, when you do things in a tough, firm, with strange way. Precise, when you are calm and methodical. Tricky, when you are subtle, decideful, technical, shrewd. And swift, when you are being quick, alert. So what it seems to me right now is that you want to learn how to be swift.
That's it.
Well, then, which is the best monster to look at here? I really like. Is it at least a swift monster? But what I do, what I want. There are a lot of monsters that can live here that you can observe. I could tell you them, or you could go to one of the human community of travelers. Do you prefer to go towards the monsters or the human?
Well, we're go hunting for monsters, and where the monsters are, there might be more monsters, and eventually the monster that we're looking for. So it makes total sense to go towards the monsters.
All right. So to see the monster, you go more towards the forested part of this river, and you can see a little wonder of nature that are Saswan. What is a Saswan? Imagine if an damn it, an octopus lives in the trees, and instead of having its usual skin, it has it looks like it's bark of the tree. On the top and in the eyes, it's like a mess of leaves. Yes, just a tree octopus, basically, that are moving from branch to branch.
Are they aggressive or are they just like
They are
chilling out and swinging?
they are not aggressive to you if you don't. They are just animals. They don't tend to just living. They're just living their life. But you want to observe them to go to a safe way of travel. Well then, it is it is a cephalopod in the trees, so you don't really imagine it to be swift, but it's mostly a tricky thing to see them because of their camouflage. If you want to follow one, you will need to give me a tricky and what was it? A tricky and search roll. So what does this mean? The styles gives you the number of dice to roll, and the skill, if you have search, gives you a little bonuses for the dice. You can either choose to go human and use the D8 action die, or you can use one of your traits. You can just say that you use it in your narration to go wild, and instead you lose 1d6 to roll, but instead of rolling the d8 for the action, you roll the d20. But if you fail, the whole group lose harmony. You have only 3 harmonies, and when you are at 0 and loss, you become discordant. That is not a good condition. So, do you want to do it just focus, or do you want to go wild?
I mean,
Only the 2 traits you decide in character creation can be used. You
oh well.
can't use the 2 that everyone has.
Okay. Um, we're here for a short for a good time, not for a long time. And so I'm going to this is the first roll. I'm going to go wild here, which
All
means
right.
that if I understand the rules correctly, I'm supposed to follow with tricky. I have 2 in tricky,
Yes.
which would mean that I usually start out with 2 of these 6-sided dice.
But
And
only
if
one now.
yeah, and I'm taking a 20-sided then, so I have only 1d6, and I'm going to go with that d20 here. Arsene,
Which
tell me,
traits do
what's the
you
minimum?
well,
What's the
which
minimum I
traits do
need to
you use?
roll on that d6?
Well, 5 and 6 is a success.
Perfect. All
So
right.
5, 6. With advantage, it is to 4. Disadvantage, it is a 6. Right now, it's neither. But first, now it means which trait do you use and how do you use it to try to track this?
Well, you mentioned these cephalopods, the tree octopi. They
Yes.
try to be stealthy. And Carrie has a simple philosophy in life that if you have horns, you can force your way through things. And she basically tries to just keep her eyes on one of these tree cephalopods And then just as quick as she can, like she leans forward, her antlers facing in that direction, and just runs after that cephalopod. And if there's like any kind of branches or bushes or other things in a way, she just charges through them with her charge trait. And it makes a ruckus. It is loud. There's no active thought about this, just like that can lead us to the monster. I'm giving chase.
Headbutt.
We
Her
just
head
start
is a
we just
butt.
start hearing crashing through the trees, and both the other two
Oh,
of us just sigh and go, "Here we go." Just
here
start
we go.
following.
Well, do you roll 5 and 6? Do you have any point in search?
I have no points at all in search.
So you really need a 5 and a 6 for a 6.
Exactly.
If not,
Here we
this is
go.
a failure.
Here we go. I have a 5 on
Ew.
my d6.
All right. And on the d20, you have?
I have a 6 on the d20. I was hoping for more, but this is better than I had expected already.
All right. So 6 is not the best of success, but still a good one.
Look, there's many sides on a d20.
There's many. There's many. Usually 5 to 7 is a standard. You did what you wanted. So you managed to follow the street with your, well, chameleon eyes that Joe one eyes here when I saw to go. You don't look where, or you don't look at all where you're going. No, no. You only look at the Saswan. It's a nice name. It's a nice name to pronounce. Saswan. But you see them swinging. They have their tentacles that are sticky, but you can see them Spider-Man it. You can see them swinging in the branches and using sort of gravity to move through the branches of the trees to go faster, and just using the release and
Meanwhile, on the ground, while the Saswan is doing this so gracefully, on the ground is just rattling, twigs breaking, and
Birds
there's
flying into the
also birds flying
horizon.
away. But there's also like sometimes like this cursing coming from Carrie, like, oh shit, oh nope, there it still is, and giving chase. It's the contrast. There's Grace and there's Carrie.
Mhm.
well, you've learned how to move swiftly to the region. I will give this opportunity to the other two. What would you like to look for twice? Would you like to look for other way to move through to traverse?
So, Marcus did a navigate check. Is that correct? And we still have tracks.
Well, you are in the
and
navigate
forage?
part of the thing
Yeah.
right now.
So we can still do tracks and forage.
Well, you can do all
Mhm.
of them. You can look for another way to travel. You can look for ingredients to forage. But if you don't intend to forage here, this is not the most recommended option. And you can look for tracks of the frenzied monster. Right now, you mainly two biggest options are the tracks or other way to travel if you are not good at Swift.
Here is what I will do. If you will allow it, I would love to make a swift traversal check. And that is all of the cephalopods that scattered when Carrie was not beelining for them. They are all making their way as swiftly and as safely as they can around. I am going to clock some of those scattering in the best like dot pattern and see if I could do that. Would you allow a swift traversal roll with that?
What is your goal here? What are you trying to do with this?
From up here, like if I hop into the trees, I can assume that the cephalopods, if they're not frenzied, are avoiding the monster. Can I look for tracks in the areas that they're avoiding?
All right, you are trying to look for tracks. All right, this is mostly what.
So what
So
do I
in a
roll?
way, if the main thing is looking for tracks, it's
Mhm.
more of a search thing because traversal is really used more for the movement,
Sure.
moving across distance.
Mhm.
But I am a generous DM, and you bring the soup. You brought us the soup. So
But in doubt, bring the soup.
uh,
Uh,
so so the soup gives you a roll.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so what dice am I rolling? D10 or
So, but well, you are trying. So the classic, the you want to do a Swift. So, how many points do you have in Swift?
3?
So, 3 dice at the start, three
Right.
d6
D6. Okay.
plus 1 d8 or the d20 if you want to go wild with it.
Let's hang on to that for now, but I'll roll the rest.
All right. So the three six-sided dice and the d8 for the
I
level of
have
better.
I have a 1, 2, 4, and 7.
Alors, so I need to know. Well, I know that the 7 isn't on the six-sided dice,
Mm-hmm.
but the main thing I need to know are the DCCs and then the actions. So the DCCs, there is no 5, there is no 6.
Yes.
Alright, so it's a failure then,
Okay.
because you don't have one success. What are my. What will be your consequences? You know
Better
what?
in a sing-song voice. Mm-hmm.
I think I will teach a clock part because you are not as swift as you would like.
Mm-hmm.
You managed to find some tracks, but really not as fast as you hoped it was. So the little thing has been colored in.
That's okay. And to be honest, the octopi, they scattered everywhere. It was a lot of scouting in the wake of the ocean tide that Carrie had. So that's totally fine.
Sorry, not sorry.
It's okay. I love you. All right.
So,
Ida?
Well,
well, first, let's
Mhm.
stay with the tracks because information about the tracks.
Ah, yes, that would be helpful.
Yes, that would be good. The tracks are old. That means the creature is 2 regions away. That is the next region, and then the next is the one it's at. There is one region between. So, on if the tracks are old, the guide, me, can reveal one fact of their choosing about the monsters to clues. So, what should I do as tracks for the monsters? What should I show you? You know what? You know what? You know what? You know what? Where is? Having two screens is really good when you have PDF everywhere, and not a lot of place for the book on your on your desk. So you can see which monster would it be? Writing such a good name. Where is it? No, it's not in the trees. Utang. Is it the Utangua? Yes. You can see an Utangua. That is a bird, a big bird that is part of the roster line. Uh, a big bird that are mostly in color of black on the extremities of wing and then more towards the reds in usually 3 meters of wingspan. This is an arsonist bird that usually like to pick up 3 branches, three trunks, put them on fire, and just release them into the forest. But this one is on the ground. This one has been on the ground. It is an adult. It is hurt. You can find traces of mucus around them. You can see trace of. You can see that this was a monster that was attacked from behind. The way you can see how it was. This is also a monster that is not dead. This is a monster that is hurt. This is a monster that you should try to help. It would only be a what? If the pack helps you, it could be a, a, a 10 challenge, I think. A good 10 challenge to reveal more to help stabilize this monster.
Sisasani would, after seeing two of her fellow welders charge ahead and focus on speed, as much as Sisasani does like going fast. Control is also important, especially when you're wielding a big ass flamethrower. Control is very important. And seeing the Huatanga, she's like, oh, I actually have a friend exactly like this. Huatanga happens to be Sisasani's monstrous acquaintance, which when creating your character, you get to see what kind of encounter you've had
Yes.
with a monster.
Well, why do you think I picked this one?
Yeah. So Sisasani would like to recalling her knowledge and would like to very carefully like to approach even if picking up a broken branch on the ground, holding it in front of the pilot light. So there's already embers and smoking. Maybe it's something that the Hutanga likes and feels comforted by. Like, look, fire, hot, hot, hot. Yeah, and she'd like to approach very carefully, very measuredly.
All right. You are trying that.
Is there
And
something I should roll
this
for?
is, I just need to check. So you are trying to. This is not stress, this is you trying, so this is charm, so this will be a precise. And usually to communicate, so you are trying to soothe something, so it is assurance.
Perfect. I have a point in assurance, and precise is my highest style.
All right. Do you want to go wild or not?
I'm gonna hold off on going wild.
All
I
right.
will go going today.
So all the d6s and the d8.
Sixes. They find a way. How many d6s am I rolling? I pick them up.
How much do you have in precise?
3, so
So
3
three.
at least. Yes.
You never add more d6s.
Oof, 5 and 6 is success. You said
Every 5 and every 6 is a success.
lucky because I rolled 2 1s and 1 5.
It is enough. Just means that you can't use another success on your traits. You can only use this one as a regular success. What did you do on the d8?
A 2.
All right, a 2 for a total challenge of 10. So 2 out of 10. But you manage to do it. But it is still very hot. It is still agitated, shall we say?
Stop flapping. Stop
It is
flapping.
It is still flapping a lot. It
Look,
is
fire.
enduring you. You are trying to soothe it. You can see, you can feel the wind swing, but it's still flapping away.
Stop it.
Still.
Stop. You don't just stop. Stop.
And it starts to recognize you. Recognize you.
Fire. Burn. Hot. She'll pull open the pilot light a little harder. Fire. Mhm.
Ah. Ah.
And she'll hold the giant torch like up and down so like the little flame is lighting like a cat following a laser.
You can feel the breath that was slowly, but still agitated, still the challenge to really you have calm it down, but it is not stabilized yet. You still need 8 to stabilize it as a group.
Um, there's hello, come back. Look what I found. Carrie, darling.
Hmm. What part of it is injured? A leg, a wing, something else?
Well, on the ground you can yes, the wings are injured. A little, honestly, a little of everything.
And there was
But
a mucus on the body.
Mm-hmm.
see, but yes, you can see the wings. So you can see that one of the legs is broken, looks like, and it has wounds also from fight that are still bleeding out.
Well, um, Ningao is not someone who can do a lot for wounds per se, but could I use a craft check to make a brace for the broken leg?
Yes. The only thing we need to know is the styles. So, what would you estimate to be as a style? What
Um,
is odd style is usually the how do you how do you do things usually? You do this thing, but
mhm.
how do you try to use more strength to do it? Do you try to be more calm? Do you try to just do it as quick as you can?
So even though this is not beneficial to the role exactly, I think with Sisasani's distracting it with fire, it's kind of like when you give a puppy a shot and you're like, look, peanut butter. When
I
she's
will give you advantage on the roll.
oh, okay, when she's distracting it with fire like some big plume, I'll go in there and use my tricky and try to wrap it as best I can. So let's try 2d6.
So which styles do you? How do you feel? I'm trying to trap it. So which styles do you use?
So that's tricky, and I have 2 dice for that, and then
Right?
craft, which is 1 dice.
No, it's not.
Oh,
The
hmm
skills are not more dice. They are things
hmm
that you can use to change the result of a die. So you can up a number by 1, for example.
I see. I see. Okay. Oh, I could have used that earlier when I got the 4. That's okay. Um, and then with advantage.
So advantage means that a 4 also counts as a success.
Well, it's double fives.
Woo!
And then add
All right.
one is 6.
So if you want, that is 2 success. You only need 1 success to do it.
hmm
You can use the other success to maybe use one of your traits. You have 2 basic traits that are grit and insight that everyone has. Well, every
hmm
wilder has. Grit, for 1 success, you can increase the result on the action die by 1. Or insight, for 1 success, you can establish a detail about the situation. What did you roll on the d8 for action?
Um, well, I will just roll it just now. It's a 5.
All right. So if you want, with the success that you have, so you can use it to increase this to 6 instead of 5.
Sure, let's do that. Can I use one of my specialty traits?
Or you can use one of your specialty traits, but it is for each success. So 1 success for the result of the action dice, so it's basic, and all the others for traits if you want. I Where is my book of Ning Ao here? Just to see. I don't see a special trait. You can use grit, but I don't see haste. Haste don't seem to be good. A slippery doesn't.
Okay, I understand. I was thinking that because this creature is covered in sticky frog mucus, I might get
Slippery
stuck
means you
on it.
can't become
Mhm.
trapped.
Okay.
You will not become trapped in this anyway.
Okay, then
It
I
is a
will just
passive. You don't
use.
need a success to activate it. Passive is always on.
Sounds good. Then I'll just use my grit.
Alright, so we bump it to a 6. That is now a 8 out of 10. Kerry, how do you want to finish stabilizing this monster so it can be rehabilitated?
I'm not really seeing any opening here for Carrie here. I think that my two companions got the situation very handled because knowing Carrie, the worst thing I could do is like, or the best thing I could do is help distract it further by showing my pan or something. But unless my fellow players have a suggestion of what Carrie could do, I don't see a narrative opening here that would make sense.
Let's look at this thing. Multiple
Like
strike. That's
I
grab.
could try to restrain it, like maybe keeping it down
You
or
you
trying
can
to
if
keep
you
it
want.
in place that to help out Ning with what Ning is doing
You
there.
yes, you if you want you can.
Right,
But
then I'm
if you
just
don't help, this will be a failure
okay. Okay.
because
That's
you
good
did
to know.
not meet the minimum. You need 10 success across the group. If
Okay.
across the groups you don't have this 10 total on the action die,
Roger that.
this
Roger
will be a
that.
failure.
Well, then I will do something and I will yes, Luyou?
I have a recommendation. Either with or without natural armor, perhaps holding it down while we get the slime off of it so it can fly easier.
Which boils down to Carrie trying to like keep it down. Not like
Yeah.
I don't want to have Carrie like do it in a too forceful way, but more like keep this creature in place so that Ning can put on the cast, and then we can also like see if we can get the mucus off of the creature.
Mhm.
That would be a mighty that I would apply, so I get 3d6 for that. And
And
I'm
the
not going.
skills,
I think that would be if I look at what I have,
you can do
uh,
all these things, just you won't have the bonus.
yeah, I don't think there's any skill that would apply here. I don't have like, I don't have any strike or something, and I wouldn't get a bonus for grab. Grab would be one that would
Grab would be
apply,
good.
but I don't have any points in grab.
You can still use grab.
Well, sure, yeah. Then we
You
use
just won't
and
have any points to help the result. You
perfect.
can
Then I'm going
use
to
any. You can use any skills on your
then
character sheet.
I'm going to use grab. I'm not going
All
to
right.
wild out on this one. Going to use the D8 for that. So I'm
Correct.
first going with the D6s that I have, 3 of
So
them.
3 of those.
Oh, that is ones on all 3 of them.
Oh,
It's like
whoa.
1, 1, 1.
Well, you are lucky that there is nothing for a 1-1-1 because this sounds like a critical fail in a lot of other games. Like this is a triple snake eye. Like this is bad.
What's going to
And
happen?
Carrie had to double back for this shit. It's fair enough.
well, you are not mighty enough. And the little thing here is that monsters use always the D20. And I think this would be a good way to. I don't want it to be
Come on, hurt
killed
me.
exactly. Well, if I hurt you, I also. Well,
Hit points
there
are
is a
there
way
to be
I
spent.
also hurt you.
This is a table full of players who want to be hurt.
So it's a 10 on you not, and you are hit by the wings, you are hit by the legs for 10 stamina damage.
Would this be considered a mighty strike?
No.
Because I have a passive call for natural armor
Yes.
that I half the damage I take from mighty strikes and mighty shots, but that won't apply here.
I will do you a spoiler. The Utan Grab will never do a mighty strike.
So I'm getting hit by that wing that I tried to hold down
Yes.
as the rest of my
It's not
companions.
a matter of being powerful. This is a matter of panic and multiple.
Yeah, I mean, the entire attempt from Carrie was also a little bit like, okay, trying to help out here, is trying to grab the creature, also in a relatively gentle way here. But then the creature, which I can't imagine is like a bit panicky, just whacks her in the face with one wing, and Carrie just like goes down on her back, like, ugh. Maybe lands in a little bit of a puddle of that mucus that we also just like goes in there into the puddle.
Wow, that was a
And
great mucus sound.
Well, if
and
you are covered in mucus, why not add some disadvantage to your next
No.
roll?
perfect. That's what we do it for. And I'm just there on the ground.
Oh dear. Okay.
But
We went
what
flat.
was on the action dice when you roll? Usually you roll all of those.
Does that action dice still matter, even if I have my
Yes.
triple ones?
It can matter, yes.
Oh, well, that's a 1 on the action die as well. So
Friends.
here we go.
Yeah.
I
That's
Beautiful
special.
line of
want
ones.
everyone to imagine this is 4 dice, 3d6, 1d8, and all of those are the 1 in one roll.
Damn.
This
He
is
has to win something
statistically-
positive, right?
Yes, statistically, this is rare. Like this is rare. This is not good. This is this is something.
What happens then?
I don't want to kill an innocent. Naked.
What's the next best thing then?
So I will say, I will give you a choice.
Oh, yes, please.
Do you leave it here, someone, or do you take one more tick of the clock to try to stabilize it without any roll, just the cost of a tick of the clock?
This question might be a little meta, and you don't have to answer it, Arsene. But do we have any indication how many ticks there are on the clock? You don't have to answer it.
Well, I will answer you in a way. I am a sadistic bastard, so you don't.
Perfect. So above the table, are we going to risk that 1 extra tick on the clock, trying to help this bird here?
I mean, this is a creature in the same family as Ida's monstrous acquaintance. Yeah, I kind
Yeah.
of feel like
the monster acquaintance.
yeah, I feel like we kind of have to.
And I
Yes,
also
sir.
think that mucus is something that we need some time to study or something.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's worth the risk of
Mhm.
sticking around.
I also
Alright.
feel it gives a bit more dramatic weight when we actually encounter. So I'm for putting a tick in the clock.
Sure.
All right. The tick has been touched. So you take more time to stabilize this eaten dwarf. Repeat. Now it is at no risk of dying right now, but it's still weak. And if there were ever downtime to do, you could rehabilitate it with meals that you cook for it. Right now, you have discovered twice of the monsters that taught you it was a wily bastard, and you have learned how to travel swiftly through the region. Do you want to try to just go through to just move on to the next region right now? Or do you want to record more information on how to travel?
I have a question more about we take in time to heal the Hutangwa, and we clear off, of course, the mucus. We learned it was attacked from behind. Does that all absolutely is that 100% from the Karakara monster? Because we've gotten these like Karakaras live in there. They're kind of likely there.
Yes. Well, this is a frog monster, so yes.
So the Hutanga was attacked by the
Yes.
Karakara.
This is the twice that you found. And if you want, you can find a little trail of blood. You can see a little blood on the beak of the Utangua. Not of the Utangua itself, but of effort that it made to defend itself. And you can see a little trail that lead you to more tracks and towards the next region, the witness wood. That you know it is going in the direction of the witness wood.
Okay.
That is between you and the wallowing grounds. You can, if you want, try to travel without learning other way to travel. It just means that in case of a failure, you will be hurt.
That's actually a good question. Is there any so we can eat to regain stamina?
Yes, but you have nothing
right?
to eat right now.
The
You would need to,
potatoes.
you would need to take time to cook.
Mm.
Well,
Carrie
then
just
And
washes
while
herself
you
off.
can while you can travel without learning how, for foraging, for looking for ingredients, you need to learn how in the navigate part.
Mhm.
Because if you
Carrie,
don't,
just
you can't return it.
Carrie just after getting up out of the mucus, getting that quite decent hit from the wing in, just looks at both of you, has like bruise on her cheek and everything, goes like, "Oh, I can do this all day. We don't need a break or anything."
I don't know if you remember the incident that we had before, but I caution you to at least find somewhere safe-ish to pass out the next time that you go down.
You call it an incident. I call it a fun complication.
Sunny tries to approach Carrie, tries to embrace. I know, Arsene, you said that Carrie's next will be disadvantaged, but are they also mechanically slippery and hard to capture now?
No.
Oh, shame.
They are just mucusy.
Mucusy Marcus.
Mucusy Marcus. A new nickname.
All right.
Mucus Shin.
Well, maybe we've been trying to traverse for a while. Maybe the sun is setting, and even if we wanted to take more time to traverse safely, if we're here in the dark, it's not going to be good.
Let's venture forth and see where this mucusy trail can take us. And Carrie like wanders off, almost slips on some of the mucus on her boots, catches herself and goes like, "Good to go."
Maybe wander behind us, but we can wander
You want me behind the two of you?
for a little bit.
But then I cannot charge through.
Aha! That's
Oh.
an idea. That's a really good idea.
No, hang on.
That's certainly an idea.
There's not. If you are in front of me, if I wanted to charge, I would have to go through you.
So you cannot charge for the moment. You're really smart to not charge in this moment. Good idea, Carrie.
If
I knew
this
you
would have
had it
been
in
an
you.
if this was an anime, there would be like a loading icon now appearing on Carrie's forehead as she allows the other two to walk by as she's still processing that information.
Yeah.
For a little bit, and Sisasani will pump up the pilot light, assuming that the Huatanga is like mended, resting, and like hopefully cooing in like a little makeshift place on the ground.
Just call out and like, "Thanks, Jeff. Have a nice day." And then I go to I call him Jeff.
Onward.
So you want to move on to the next region.
Mhm.
Yes.
Let's go.
You will move no matter what. So you are there are three of you. So the challenge is at a 15. Collectively, all your action dice need to add up to 15. Now, some of you have traits that could be useful to draw before others. You can use any styles you want, knowing that if you don't use Swift, you have the risk of getting hurt if the roll challenge is a failure, if you don't manage to have up to 15 in the action die. And it will be a traversal roll, always.
I happen to have traversal.
If Sisasani can make a traversal first and succeed, then the next pack mate who makes traversal will get advantage.
Yes, could be
Oh,
useful to the one who is disadvantaged.
Mhm.
who would that be?
So this is whatever you want. You make a traversal. Do you make a swift one? Do you make a precise? How do you traverse through this river and forest?
So if we're going through the next zone, Sisasani is going to take a moment to be a bit precise.
All
Uh,
right.
and she's precise with a giant torch. She's precise with a giant flamethrower. So even if just that's squatting and burning off the very top layer of down leaves, it could have been easier to blow or brush away leaves. She's gonna burn it off to reveal any other tracks or any other dangers they should be considered. So I'm going to roll a precise. I have a skill study. I don't know if that helps me.
No, this is uh, when you move on. This is always a traversal.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll
You
my
don't get help from other skills.
then I'm going to roll my precise traversal.
How
That's a
many do you have in precise? Three. So three dice.
3d6. I'm gonna roll
Do
those.
you focus up the D8 or do you go wild using one of your special traits?
This isn't a situation where I can go wild with a trait, so I'm gonna hold off on the wild. When I go wild, it'll
As
be
long as it
wild.
makes sense narratively, you can use the traits.
This one doesn't make sense to me narratively.
All right.
So I'm gonna roll the 3d6.
So
Come on.
5 and 6s. You're weighted.
I rolled 1 5 again,
All right.
and
So
I'm going
that's
to roll
good.
the d8. Something higher, please. Another 2. Sorry.
So out of 15, 2. So you need to do a 13 between the both of you.
Friends.
But
So
now the next one to go has advantage. That means it goes back. If you have the disadvantage, it go back to 5 being a success. If you don't have a disadvantage, it goes to 4 is a success. So 1.
Go ahead, Carrie.
So Carrie is
Yes.
witnessing Sisasani do this careful flamethrower work, and Carrie comes up from behind and goes like, "No, let me show you how to do this." And she just takes her pan and she starts, as if it's a huge machete, she's just basically whacking all kinds of underbrush and the like away with the pan
Well,
to
I
make.
don't know if a big pan has the same cut of a machete. No, I don't imagine a pan being sharp like a machete.
I
But
don't
I
either, but
really
I
like
imagine the brute force does
I
it
just
though.
imagine. I mean, just the image is funny. So yes.
We're cracking twigs and branches left and right, as I just clear the way ahead, which I'd argue is a mighty roll,
All
which
right.
I
So
have
mighty
three,
traversal,
which I have 3 dice
and
in.
we remove your disadvantage on your next roll. So
All right,
5 and 6s are success.
I
Do
have to
you
roll
go
mighty again.
wide?
I have to roll mighty again, and I switched out the d6s. I have new d6s at this point.
Good.
Excellent.
So
Uncursed.
let's see what happens.
Do you go wild or do you? Well, you rolled, so it's a d8.
Yeah, it's a d8. I got 1 6. I got a single
Yay.
6.
So this is a success. And what do you have on the action die?
Well,
Real
we're
good.
about to find out.
We need those
The
8.
action die. It's a 3.
Oh no!
So
It's going good.
I will say this right now. 5 out of 15. You need a 10 to succeed.
You can't get that on a d8.
Yes.
No
Oh, but
pressure.
You
that's what
can
we have
get
Go
that on the
Wild
D8.
for.
So you need to hope on the D20. If you want to succeed, you need to go wide. Natively, do you have a trait that you think would be good to go wild with, outside of grit and insight? That just won't work for go wild.
So here's what I was imagining. I was imagining sees Sasani walking across a massive felled log, just burning all the stuff off of it, and the stuff is whacked with the pan. And what this leaves open is a huge log, burnt off areas, and the side is also cleared. What Ningao is going to try to do now is, with a running start and jumping with his jerboa legs, we are going to go wild, and I'm going to use the twine and attempt to swing through, and I'm going to use haste.
All right.
I'm
And
scared.
Good.
so
Uh,
you remove one
I'm
die
scared.
from your dice pool. So
Remove one from the d6s.
So you remove one, but
Ah,
you roll the d20 instead.
I'm scared.
5 and 6s.
Okay.
how many d6s do you have left?
I have 2 if I'm rolling with Swift, and then this
Uh-huh.
is the d20, so 3 total. Is that correct?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right.
The d20 doesn't count for the successes. So only on the two.
It's a 6 on the d6 and a 2, and
So
on the
one success.
d20,
Good.
it's an 18.
Oh,
Yes! Nice! Nice!
Teamwork!
we're wild
Woo!
feasting, Wilderfeasting now.
Good. 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 This means that you traverse the region peacefully. You manage to succeed, which means you don't take the damage from using a non-swift move. Everyone didn't, so the mighty is. And that means that our little transition will be peaceful. But it will still happen. Just need my description in my little pages on the witness wood to describe a little. Basically, when, and I ask this of you, players, when I told the wallwood the gnarled wood, what image came to your brain? What do you imagine it looks like?
Do you mind if I go ahead and start?
Oh,
Please.
go ahead.
The gnarled wood is such an interesting place. The trees, they twist and undulate in these very almost like labyrinthine river like ways, stretching into the sky like open fingers. And what's interesting about these trees is, because of all of the space in between the bark, like almost like churro like, there's berries and other things that grow within, and then each tree supports like vines and other flowering things. So every tree has like a mini ecosystem inside. That's what I'm imagining. Folks?
I'm also thinking there's a lot of moss here. Like all these trees that Luyou described, most of them are just covered in these thick patches of moss, and not just in like what we're used to of like these tones of green and emerald, but there's also purple, there's azure, there's even some little black stained moss here, and it's just everywhere. Our footsteps are just softened by this tapestry of moss that we just walk over.
If you stand very still in the gnarlwood, you will actually see quite a lot of movement up and down the vegetation. And a lot of the small creatures here are very long. So imagine long, skinny lizards. Imagine long millipedes. Imagine rows of ants that walk together in like really tight formations. And because everything is so twisted and gnarly, you really see their bodies sort of like making hard angles, U-turning before going back up the right direction in all sorts of stripy movements.
I love the long squirrel of this region. It's very unsettling.
Long.
Yes, it's very. Well, this was to describe the whole forest. When people think of the gnarlwood, think of this thing. This is the part called the witness wood, I imagine. This is really this part that is the quintessence, the essential part, the image that strikes the mind of these twisted woods that are just roaming around each other. And on top of that, you need to hide another forest on top with the witnesses. Witnesses are the name of giant twistwoods that have risen so high above the canopy that basically they're another forest on top of the forest. They are so old that they remember the time that, well, low points, some of them still bear the mark of the fall of the spaceship that humanity came on this planet. Yes, you all come from space on a crash.
So it's very,
But
very old. And like if there's any loose bark at the base of the tree, or especially bark that has been fallen off, Sisa-san is absolutely like pocketing as much as she can carry.
this is dry wood.
Yeah,
This is
perfect.
basically, especially meters, this is dry. This is a forest that can go up in flame regularly. It is part of its natural process.
As Sisasani does this, Ningao sees this and just without saying anything opens the flap of his backpack where there's a little extra room where she can also stick these little branches and bark if she wants.
No, that was just the description of the witness wood, but
Mhm.
I still need to do the event. And since it is a peaceful event, I will look at my peaceful version of this because I vote 2 for each. And you realize you were followed, not by a monster, but by a human. A small human. Almost a child. Like caught between the start of adulthood and the loss of childhood. A child that you know from the village called Eddie. They are indigenous. You don't really. They have. They are they them that you know of. And the main thing that you notice about them when they follow, they bear the temporary tattoo of the initiate. That is, the hunters have initiates, have apprentice that have sort of marks on tattoos on their on part of their cheek, or either on the left or on the right, whose motif depend on who they apprentice with. This one still has this motif on his left cheek. This means they haven't hunt yet their monsters to really ascend to full hunter status. But the thing you notice, this is a mark that you know because this is the mark of Aida apprentice that followed you with weapons.
Do we know the name of this apprentice?
AD?
Do you? This is a main point you should have said. I will leave this to you. Do you think you know? And if you do, you think you remember the name of someone that Ada might have talked about in letters or just you may never have met directly?
I think
What
Ningao would
We,
would
probably.
especially if they had the chops to sneak up and follow us this far. This person has quite some skill, so I'm hoping that we would know of this person.
all right? Well, you know that it is Hedy with a H as a start.
Oh,
Hetty.
Shout out to the person I saw this morning with this name. That suddenly becomes the name of this character.
every time you say a character, I write down 3 names that it could possibly be. I was like Eddie, Haiti.
So, Hedy,
Mm-hmm.
Hedi.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie turns towards Hetty and goes, I'm not sure this is the right place for you, apprentice.
This is a. I understand. Maybe why you've come, but this is quite a dangerous place for children.
But I'm not a children anymore. But I'm not a children anymore. Do I do the adolescent stuff? No.
Well,
But
prove
I'm
your
not anymore.
well then prove yourself otherwise and tell us everything you've known and found out.
I need to prove myself. This is not my. They they killed master. I can't let this happen. This monster needs to be my mark. Needs to be the one that remove my touch. If not, how should I honor Aida?
By staying alive.
Folks above table, we do have
Have a
a
line
line on harm to
to
children. Don't mind
Is that true?
if this person comes, but can
Yes.
we make sure that nothing bad happens to them?
Don't consider that when I said children because I didn't have the right. Think more late adolescent, more 17 than 8.
Are we cool with
But
adolescents
still,
getting harmed?
but how it true? Well, you also wanted more shows, but the thing
I'll
is,
leave that to
stop
the
them
rest of
from
y'all.
going. Yes.
How do you feel, guys?
I feel that becoming a hunter, or while it's not necessarily age exclusive, people can decide to be hunters at any age. But I would be cooler if like just pop a couple of years on the person. They can still be inexperienced and young, but not necessarily adolescent.
Sure.
Sure.
Are we good with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, same person.
Oops, 21.
Cool. Welcome to violence.
Yay!
Oh.
All right. Here's a
Yes.
question for you, Haiti. What skill set are you bringing to our hunt? No offense, but our team has been around for a while, and while we're not the while we're somewhat accident prone, I would say we know each other fairly well, um, but dynamics can always change when you add a new person in. What are you bringing to the table, and how can we help you if possible?
I I want to be the one who deals the blow. I need,
I know,
yes.
but
This
with
is
what method?
I well. The thing is, your weapons are made of something called Arsene steel,
Mhm.
which is a weird material because it's a sort of steel that can regenerate. You can heal your weapon. That's why there is durability, and and it has basically its own health track. It can heal, and this is also why the Wilder have weapons made of them because they are basically the main things that can really hurt frenzied monsters.
If
Other weapons don't that are not made of archer steel don't tend to do that well. Against regular monster, they could with flash. Against frenzied, you're not sure.
Okay, does this not kid have an arc steel weapon?
well,
This young this young adult does. You know what? I think it would be even better.
Sisa
Did
Sani
you
would
get
like to do a quick sidebar
yes?
with Ningao and Carrie, and just kind of aside from Haiti, be like, I get what they want to do. They're a little very inexperienced, but I recognize and I honor the emotions. What if we propose to Hedy, stay hidden, stay back, don't engage. The three of us will take down the monster, and when it's defeated, we will hold it down and allow Hedy the final blow. But it's already defeated. It's just kind of symbolic.
Mi corazon, I think that's an absolutely great suggestion. However, I don't know if it's going to go over well to a grieving, angry teenager. I have potentially an alternative, which is that I could give them my well, not the entire thing. What is my weapon called? I could give them my
Your twine?
twine to hold. I can still I can still pull twine from it and attack and do things as usual, but we can have them fairly far back. Is that possible? I mean,
Well, you just need to convince them. That's
Look,
and well,
Carrie is
what I
not
wanted to
about
say, I would propose that you gave Aida, their master, some part of Archon Steel that they made arrows out of, and the apprentice stole them and brought them here to fight
Oh,
with.
they're a little thief. I love them already. Carrie?
just above table, just to double check if I understood this correctly. So Hedi has arc steel weapons.
I guess.
They have arrows with arch steel point on them. Yes.
Arrows.
Arrows. Okay,
Arrows.
arrows.
I heard
okay,
hours.
Gotcha.
Arrows.
No,
Yeah.
arrows.
Gotcha.
Arrows.
Gotcha. Arrows with arc steel tippings. Okay. Carrie listens to the married couple talk about is the response from Sisasani to the suggestion of just giving the twine over. And Carrie, with arms crossed, goes, for a duo that often mentions that I'm the irresponsible one here, I'm not sure if it is a very responsible idea to have someone who's still grieving for their master be involved in this. I can understand their intention, but look, we all remember we remember what it was like when we were apprentice wilders. Do we want to do we think it's right for this still grieving person to be involved in this?
I agree with you, and I put a hand on your knee. But Carrie, when you were an apprentice wilder, if you were told to not enter a hunt, would you?
Carrie is about to protest, but then she goes, "No, guess I would not."
the
Catch me.
killing blow is still very important and symbolic, but that means the three of us will have subdued the creature by then. The fight is over.
Okay, fine.
That means you have to go very hard and heavy. Sorry, I know you don't like that.
Oh yeah, I'm really do not enjoy swinging my pan hard and heavy. Talking about my pan, here's my one condition to do this. If I see this apprentice try to do something irresponsible, I'm gonna stop him. Like, just tackle him, not hurt or anything. just like I tried to help with the bird. Gonna grab, tackle, and
Okay.
look, maybe bad example, but like all the previous times when I tried to grab someone or something, I will intervene. I don't want that village to have someone else to bury it again.
If it gets too hot, we will all intervene.
Perfect.
It will get very hot.
I know.
Are we like in like a huddle? Do we have like a 3 huddle? Once we agree on
Turn
that,
back around.
Carrie, who has to like basically like squat down to be on eye level with everyone.
On knees.
Carrie stands up, gives you one last glance, and then turns towards Hedi. All right, apprentice. You want to see some action from the front row?
Yes. I want to gain my removal of this mark.
All right, the rules for this are very clear. This is going to be a very dangerous monster that we might be dealing with. I don't need to tell you that. You're going to see how me and my companions deal with it. You're going to pay attention. You're going to take notes. We're going to make sure that once we have this creature subdued, that you will you will get what you came for here. Is that understood? Doing an awful lot of thinking there, kid.
Not just a kid. Yes. And now I need to track an NPC that I didn't plan to track beyond this.
Why did you introduce them then?
For you to stop him.
Oh well,
Oh,
we're
and-
not doing
No,
that.
no.
Stop.
Hetty, if there's one of us three that you want to pay close attention to on how proper monster hunting is done, keep an eye on me. All right?
Yes, please keep an eye on her, and when she passes out, please drag her into the nearest bush. Thank you.
I will
Oh my
add a
God,
new
it
test.
happened once, and Carrie
Twice,
wondered.
twice.
An
Oh
hour
my-
ago.
I
It
will add
happened
a new
twice.
tally. This has now become a competition. I will add a new
Let's go.
tally to decide which one they will be most impressed with,
Great.
Cool. I like that.
depending on how well you do on your action dice. Which one will be the better example?
So since we did meet, so if Hetty agrees and Hetty did come out all this way, did Hetty learn anything new that Hetty is sharing with us?
No. Yes. Eddie, I will give. Eddie can tell you that this they often goes inside the wood to go think because this is the way to the mating ground. No? They can tell you two things. First, this part of the wood is a part with the regular apex predator, shall we say, the top of the food chain, the Takangwa that only lives here, and mostly because of all the roots and all the branches that just now go in everywhere. This is a very confusing terrain. So you mechanically you need to spend 5 stamina to make a precise traversal here. And he also teach you how to do a precise traversal.
Okay. Sisasani would be okay to provide that stamina and do a precise traversal.
During the move on part, do
Mhm.
you want to, before that, learn other things, try to find the tracks or anything else?
I will defer to the other wilders. Sisasani's torch has range, so I'm hoping that means I probably won't get as damaged. So I'm okay spending the stamina for that when it comes to that.
I mean, if we can try to find the tracks, I think that would be best. Can I dart up or jump up onto some trees and scan the area?
You can do that. Anyway, we can do that. This is, well, you are basically hunter, so this is the thing you know you can do. And you can find, let's move quickly for this one. You can find fresh tracks. You know the monster is not that far. But the thing with fresh tracks is each wilders can ask me, the guide, a question of their choosing about the monster. It can be mechanical, like if you want to know what styles it has the most of, what condition does it inflict, or other narrative things, you can ask and I will answer in game. But if you want to know the skills and styles of something, you each have one question because you found this fresh tracks.
Are there any specific traits then that we learn about this creature?
Well, if I just need to go to
I'm also thinking that we've had some time about like the mucus that we encountered, that maybe that's kind of been thinking about that has been stewing in our minds. So if that is like a hint to any kind of potential trait or ability that the monster has.
Yeah.
the
we also-
mucus itself, no.
We also learned that the Hutangwa was attacked from behind, so this monster attacks fast, can probably sneak up on you. It has mimicry as well.
That's true. That is true.
Okay.
As Carrie realizes that, she looks over at Hetty, like, is Hetty real? She says out loud.
Well,
This is-
Minitra
this
is
is-
only the voice. You can't imitate a body like that.
Oh, okay. Carrie was thinking of like full illusion
No,
mimicry.
no,
And
only vocal, like the
Okay.
lyrebird.
okay, she stops giving the stink eye to Hetty and realizes her mistake.
No, this is not the game when you have a mimic.
Here's a question in universe and out of universe. Is the creature going to be repositioning itself a lot in the fight? I'm looking at the battle cone. Like, is that something that we should worry about, it jumping around and 2 becomes 4 or 0 becomes whatever, or not?
0 will always stay 0.
Okay.
This is Mechanity because 0 is where the monster is, always.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The only thing that change is the player position, the character's position on the thing.
Okay.
And really to move the point is this sort of the general question. As a part, it can move during rounds that I will be explained during the combat part.
Mm-hmm.
But you see on the way, this is now really the biggest part of the forest. This is an enraged monsters. And while you're trying to follow the region, you see on the bark of the trees, you see imprints of feet, of big frog feet that have just been imprinted onto the bark, like boom. And you can see that this creature not only can move, but this is a creature that can go up and climb into the trees.
Okay, okay. So it sounds like a little bit tight formation.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. With Hetty still hidden and observing and studying and learning.
Carrie is in the back of the group here and is like next to Hetty and go like, see, what we're doing here is we're gathering information on the monster, and what my beloved friend Sisasani is doing is she's giving out orders. It's always good to have someone in your group who can give out orders, but you don't always have to listen to them. But well, to us, you have to listen though. So
The yapping from below kind of like comes in and out of Ningao's ears as they attempt to set, and I don't have a trait for this, but they're going to attempt to just set a few bits of twine, not as a trap, just so that if it sneaks up on us, it'll bang, and then we can sense its arrival.
oh, that
Like
sounds
a
clever.
spider web, sort of.
Yeah.
Wing if it's.
Just a little cheeky, alarm.
Hee ha ha. Well, this is not the region the monster is in, so don't
Oh,
put it in there.
okay.
But yes, but this is a good idea, and this would be mostly a search of Piyasha. So let's think about this later.
Mhm.
And I think Aida didn't ask the questions about the monsters that I answered. I don't think she asked a question about the monsters, anything.
Um, was Marcus's question answered? Any other traits about that we didn't already know?
Yeah, I don't think
Well,
I was asking like about those traits, but I don't think we got a definitive answer to that.
yes, you didn't, because that wasn't really a question. I need a little more than that. And also, I need to think which one do I say.
Okay, and
I
that
gave a lot already.
um
And also, so now I have other question. I can try to put them together.
in that case, um to be very direct, the karakara does. What sort of conditions can it apply to us? Oh no, we already know, kind of, because they were there was a death by constriction, so it can grab us. Can it do any? Can it apply any other conditions to wilders, to people it's fighting?
Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
Since we're asked to just be direct, I'm like, okay, what conditions can it
Yes.
give us?
Well, this is one of the question proposed. So you, how do I put this in the fiction? Although, or I don't. You find what sort of you can find is there Goliath in there which who crabs? Yes. Which one is the most? Which one is the most agile of these? You can find a wood crab. That is basically imagine if a tree were a crab, like the roots are the legs and they are the pincers and the edge of the front, the eyes of the front. Wonderful creatures. Really tells their name well. That really looks like trees. This is one of the method of hunting. And you can see it, and you can see it really being confused. You can see it really being you can see as if it didn't know left from right, as if it didn't know usually you don't find them like that as well. Usually you only see them when they move. When they are on the go, they just look like trees. They have camouflage. This one doesn't seem to realize what it's doing and doesn't seem to know where it is.
So this monster
This
is
monster can also
confused, or
infuse.
is easily confused.
It can inflict confuse.
It can inflict confusion. Okay.
Yes. Confusion is a condition.
Okay.
And for the traits or not, hmm, legs, tongue, they don't have a lot of trait metaphors. I don't remember what this one does. Where is the appendix? So that I have the full description of this one. So that I can fit. No, this is a special one that I can't describe like that. Basically, it's you find places that it attacks from behind, it confuses, and it seems like it has a lot of natural reflexes. That mean it is harder to hit it with swift strikes or shots because it has these reflexes and just move on the go.
So one would say it's resilient against swift.
Not resilient. Was there a condition to resilient?
I don't think so. Just my choice of word.
But basically, yes, it has a special resistance to swift.
Noted. Okay. So maybe like the sun is setting in this it's starting to go down in the sky. Maybe there's a bit of like these orange purpley lights in the horizon. And that's also Aida's way of saying that we should mind the time on the stream to get hunting.
All right. You want to move quickly towards the monsters? Yes.
I guess we're ready.
What's the worst that could happen?
Well, do you want
Why
to
do you
all,
say the words, Markus?
do you
don't
want to all
say
fail the next traversal wall? to enter the fight in a good condition. But what are the rules for? Because this is just a small paragraph inside. No, I want the real one because it's just a small paragraph for the quick traversal. This is a problem with this game. Some things are not very well placed. I think it's like I will say that for once there is not a lot of things in the GM part of the book. So quick travel. So so you can just yes, let's do it quick. Just travels with any styles you want to go to this. I don't think I will need to do an event. So you know what? We already explored this. You already. Let's just move directly to the Wallowing Grounds
Oh.
to deal with. Well, it's a good thing you found the tracks because it's you that found the monsters, or rather the back of the giant frog-like monsters. This is a big part of the forest. This has the same sort of higher level than the other ones. And this is a big frog. Like I said, bigger than usual. And this is the moment. Since you have found the French track, you have you put the drop on it. Let's put the little thingy on the stream so that you can all see it.
It is there.
I like to call this little thingy the battle thermometer.
The battle thermometer. Yes, it is.
So
Now,
for the viewers, we indeed have this sort of thermometer looking placement map with a large 0 at the center, and streaming out vertically from it is the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 zones. And the players will be moving these icons that pertain to their preferred weapons. Yeah,
yes,
where Marcus is pointing.
every icon is
Roughly.
one weapon. Since you have found the tracks before the combat begin, you have initiative. You decide where to place your character between 2 and 4, knowing that the monster is always at 0.
Carrie is going to be very careful in the back, keeping away. No, of course, she's going to be in 2.
Well, it's better if you are in striking range.
Okay,
After that, you will gain a free round of 1 action each. Normally, I gave you all the Twitch start, and the Twitch start have the Twitch reference for combat with the actions.
okay, so
Some action just 1, some action just 2, some action just more. This one is you will have 1 free action, and then for the next rounds, you will all have your regular 3 actions.
so I see Carrie with the giant pan icon has moved to zone
Not
2.
sir, and Ninjao, you need to be between 2, 3, and 4.
So the giant spool of twine icon is in 2. And Sisasani by the torch icon will be in zone 3.
I will put the monster page here, the action page here. I love a well-designed PDF with vignettes. So all right, let's put it there. And we have our placement. There is no order for how to go. You decide which one wants to go first. Right now, the monster hasn't seen you, so you don't know which one it will attack first. You can see mostly from part of the monster. You can see it. You can see well the big legs that are the big front legs. You can see it's sometimes you can see another sack, right? And this is not the this is a another sound from another monsters that you can recognize. But sometimes this other sack for
Oh, yeah, because of the mimicry.
yes,
Ah,
Oh,
the,
yeah.
that's creepy AF. I love it as a
Yeah.
yes.
player. As a character, I'm
Oh,
horrified, but as a player, I'm impressed.
yeah, that's super
As
cool.
both a player and a character, I want to light that on fire.
Okay.
It is a wonderful little creature. I don't know what you're talking about.
I have a
Imagine
range
just
3 for
imagine the
my
frog
torch.
ball and then a split leg, just a ball with legs, with legs.
I have a question. We
You
have
have an
not
answer.
started combat yet. Is there a way, instead of attacking, is there a way for me to use my display skill and mimic the sound of the frog through these bits of twine that I've set up?
You you can make walls. You can make. This is one of the actions in combat.
Mm-hmm.
You can just
Improvise, yeah.
use something. You can just improvise something. You can just do something. You just need to tell me what to do. If this is someone you want to prepare, my main question is what is the goal there? What do you want to happen, ideally?
So right now the frog hasn't noticed us yet, but it's going to be able to, as soon as someone attacks it, it's going to
You have one
start.
round of each one action before it notice and attack.
Right. Is there a way for me to draw its attention to a completely separate zone, for example, above it, so that um, people are potentially um, safer with display? Or could I wrap my twine around a leg or two to make it less mobile?
Usually these things are more. This I think this would be too much for one action.
Sure, I understand.
Because this is a big effect. Inflecting conditions, inflecting these sort of
Mhm.
things tend to be a big thing. And the monster changes target every round.
Mhm.
So this so potassium will not have the effect on the later rounds.
Mhm.
So I would not advise for it yet. Later, but not yet.
Sounds good. Then someone else take the wheel and I will, I will observe.
Fire?
Let's go,
You can
fire.
move to draw in range because, for example, you can move to go in range to strike because where you are right now, Ning Yao, you can't hit. You need to be a range one for that.
I think Sisasani had a good opening gambit.
Sisasani would like to fire. Her torch has a range of 3.
Yes,
Just like
it does. So this is a shot. And which tiles do you use? With one action, you can either use a swift or a tricky.
can I use a precise to like specifically
No,
target
precise.
to aim carefully?
Uh, precise usually aim carefully and do part damage. Tricky also do part damage. So,
That
you can, because but just repeat that precise and mighty are two actions instead of one.
and for this opening shot, I only have one
You
action.
only have one action for this one. This is because this is the opening game. Because this is a trick opening gambit.
Okay, then
As the rules state first. Try to keep this action economy.
then if you said tricky cost one action,
Tricky cost one action. Yes.
then
You should have the tweet. You should try to have a street start as a page with every action possible and what it costs.
I would like to do a tricky then to attempt a feint, like
All
big
right.
big opening big
Zero
fireball
punishment.
over its head, hopefully to give my friends some cool entry moves.
Yes. So this is a tricky shot because you attack at a distance, and
So
you will deal part damage. So just to note, will you attack the leg? Will you try to attack the tongue, or will you try to attack the vocal sac?
leg. The leg
The leg. All right.
seems very mobile. Okay, I'm gonna roll tricky 2d6 then, because I have 2 in tricky.
Yes.
Let's go.
Do you want to go wild or not?
Yeah, let's go wild.
All right. So remove one die,
Yep.
1d6, and use a d20 instead.
Yep. Okay. Okay. I have 1 die to roll, but we're gonna do it. It's gonna be cool.
Let's go big.
And that is a 6.
Good. Only one successes?
Yeah, I only have 1
Yes.
dice to roll.
The d20 for the
All right,
total damage.
I'm gonna roll the d20 now. Come on.
Come on, natural 20. Come on.
14. That's pretty good.
Ooh.
That's not
That
bad.
is pretty good because it does this to both stamina and the part.
Sweet.
So I remove 14 here, and you said the leg.
Yes. This is not a mighty success, right? Or
No,
is it
this is a tricky.
okay. Oh no, you're right.
So-
You're right. You're right. You're right.
But already a big gust of flame on the back of this monster.
As these flames spout forth from the flamethrower of Sisasani, Carrie has grabbed her pan from her bag, and everyone's forgiven to think that this is just a melee weapon, but Carrie has quite the throwing arm. And thanks to my bouncing throw, I can throw my pan at a target of up to, I have a range 2 on that, would be a shot. So I take it by the handle, I give it like a bit of a whirl to get my arm going,
Yes.
and then I throw the pan at the sack, like the sack on the throat, like as if I'm like punching someone in the throat, but now over a distance with a massive pan, and we see the chibi face approaching the camera as it flies towards the sack.
I
would
want everyone
Yep.
to imagine that the pan is basically human size.
Yes. Better.
So imagine that going through.
And I'm assuming this is a shot. Can I use my mighty style for that? Because I would assume it's like a lot of body strength that I have to put into
Normally,
throwing a
mighty is 2 action. For this one, so you can do swift or tricky at one, and then next one you can use 2. You can use 2 out of the 3 that you have to do this.
Then let's go with tricky, and I will go wild. So I only
Oh,
have.
And you go for the vocal sack.
I go for the focus. I have only 1d6 here, and I'm going wild with the d20. Come on, no more ones. I had all of my ones in the game. Well, it's a 2.
That's not a 1.
So that's a failure, and well, just for good measure, it was a 7 on the d20.
It would. I will be honest. Since the combat is done for 3 players instead of the regular 4, it would have been a very good result. Sadly, it doesn't do the damage.
Yeah, the pan goes
And
like boom,
since you
and then
failed at a tricky, you become exposed.
Uh-oh.
oh no.
Yes. What does expose do? Well, you take double damage, and this only ends when you take said damage or if you brace.
I would like to point out that I'm only at 10 out of my 20 stamina. So bring
But
it,
this
frog.
is only the first of your health bar. You have 2 more after that.
Oh, well, okay. Well,
This
bring it
just
even
means
more,
that you
frog.
gain wounded, and then you have 20 back. And then you get wounded 2, and then 20 back, and then...
All right. Gotcha.
This is multiple health bar with only 1 set of stamina because it's easier to count that way.
Ning, how are you going to surprise the frog?
We're swooping in on the same leg that my love has already torched. So
Well, I will just say that the only thing you can do is move 1, because move is 1 action.
I understand. We're
Like
swinging in.
So you swing in to just be in range for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, regular round, everyone has 3 actions.
3 actions.
I will think I will put back. Where is my trick back? I need something back. Instantly. Yes. To put it in the distro just for good measure. Yes. Now you have 2 actions, and then after each of you, the monster act with either 1 action or once per round decide to go full turn 3 action.
Mhm.
That's also why I didn't react to the failure of Markus, because usually the monster act always after.
Okay, so now it's the regular
The
round. At least have
first
3
target of the monster is Markus for this round. It is Kerry.
Come on.
You
I'd like
decide
to
which
ask
one
what
yet
that
to
tongue
start.
do, but let's see what happens.
Let's put that tongue back in your mouth.
Carlbot looms in the background.
I have my official dice here.
How many d6 are that?
They are the total 5. I will not use all 5. But just for having them all in one place. But you start. Which one of you wants to go first with their full 3 action?
Oh, I thought the monster was going now.
No, the monster act after each of you had this first 3 rounds.
Okay.
Now the rules are you monster, you monster, you monster.
All right. Who wants to go first?
I would, and I would like to change my tactics since I see that the pan got hucked at the frog last time. I would like to take my first action to taunt, to get the monster to attack or aggro on me first, and then I'm going to swing on a bitch, if I am allowed to with my twine.
So you just lasso it, you want to strike it?
Um, if I cannot do the following, then I will strike it twice and taunt it once. If I can try to use both of my remaining actions to wrap my twine around the leg that's been scorched and try to, inflict some sort of condition on it or just hurt it, then I will do that.
Let's visually condition everything, so you could use really big. No, I need to remove the end. So which condition it would be? It would be short.
Mm-hmm.
Usually short is just short. So let's. I think it would be a grab. Usually it's the things that are mostly used for this. Yes. So which styles do you want to use? This is more of a trap thing. Is it a more tricky thing?
If it doesn't count as an attack, since I know it's resistant to it, I will use Swift to just
It will
sprint
be
around its leg.
it will be a swift grab then.
Mm-hmm.
So you just need to succeed at this swift grab. And
Okay.
we'll see.
And because time is of the essence, can I go wild?
If you have a trait for that, yes, you can.
Can I use haste?
I don't. Which one? The problem with the match is sometimes I don't.
Sure. You can move without spending
one
an
swift
action.
success. You can move without. It's only if you have a success and one more success on this roll.
Oh.
So you can use haste to go wild, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the effect costs you a swift success, so you need the success, one more success to do it.
Oh, that's scary. I only have 2 d6s. I'm gonna go for it. Let's see. Hey! Oh shit! Okay, what's the success? Because it's a
5 and
5.
6.
Oh, it's a 5 and a 5. And
Both
a
are
13
successes.
and a 13 on the d20.
Nice.
So
Ooh.
this is a wonderful. You can use one to charge inflict the charge rate on the monster, and you can use haste with the other success.
Sure. So you guys see Ningao springs really high in the air and gives like an ineffectual kick, one that doesn't hurt the monster, but just like annoys it so that I'm its center of attention. And you see he like dashes around the leg and like pulls really hard, and you see its leg is a bit like stuck. So that's me.
Nice.
Just so you know, Chart is a disadvantage on all the monster test. So good job. But this is now the monster turn, and
Yes.
they are very close to their target.
Mm-hmm.
You. They have only one action, and I need to go back to the good page. You are still in one there. You didn't move. You stayed at one you stayed at one on the canvas, that's right. Or you didn't move it because you wanted to use haste.
Yes.
So you stayed at one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You are still in range for a little tongue lashing. With so applying the boost. Disadvantage. Well, this is a 6, so it's a success.
Sure. Do your worst.
17.
That's fine.
And this is a twitchy, it is both to you and to your weapon.
Okay. 17.
And but this also means that this is as damage. It is no longer cut because it has damaged the one that cut it. Next, Wilder, please.
Come on, Sisasani.
Fire! Fire!
Fire.
We're gonna do a precise strike.
Yes.
We're going again for the leg.
The
So that's gonna
leg.
cost me 2 actions.
Yes.
And I'm going to make it wild. So I'm gonna
Going
go
to
down.
make it wild. Yes.
I'm gonna go down to 3 dice instead of 3.
2 dice instead of 3 because you
Yep.
have 3 dice.
Yep. So rolling.
And the d20 that you don't.
Yes, I got another 6. 6 and a
Alright.
4. So that's a 6.
So 6 is a success.
And
You
they're
do
going to...
the action dice damage.
Okay, we're gonna roll the d20. Go pansexual dice.
Let's go.
11.
Woo.
So, first health bar of monster is gone.
Oh,
Back to 20, it is wounded. And the legs are broken.
Ooh.
Like in Monster Hunter, the video game, if some parts are broken, some capacities can activate. I can let you guess what legs are used for in a fall.
jumping, I guess.
And reflexes.
Okay.
So Swift is back on the menu.
Sweet. Okay, and those were 2 actions. And for my third and final action, can I prepare? I want to gain an extra action at the start of my next turn.
Yes, you
Ooh.
can prepare.
So I am.
Ooh.
You see her put the torch down, rustle in her pockets, and put something in front of the pilot light, and that's her turn.
All right. Monster turn still has one target that is close by. Will it do the same? Well, you haven't. It will. I think it's best if I use the full turn to use my 3 actions and do things with this bag before it's too late. So this is a 2. Oh, those are good dice. So one success is so I can do it, and it is critical with disadvantage. This is a success. So it's a success. I will choose one creature of my choice, or one creature with one trait. No. Which one is better, confused or frightened? I don't remember the one that is best for me, of course.
Then flip a die.
I
Even this one,
think
odd
it's
the other one.
yes. Frightened is good. So it will decide that Sissa is frightened because the monster use the vocal cry of a big monsters that is very scary. Like that involves the primal instinct of fear in your body. What does frightened one do? After rolling any test, you have -1 to your action die.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
During your turn, you or a packmate can spend 3 stamina and make an assurance roll to restore your frightened. You can do that as long as you want. It's not an action. As long as the stamina is there, you can do this.
Question. What the frog just did, was that an attack on Sisa?
It was not an attack.
Okay.
It uses virtual cry to make you frightened with the imitation.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify because if it was a mechanical attack, if it attacked me, then it would become confused in turn.
It is not an attack. It doesn't do damage. It is more that the cry affected you.
Cool. Clear.
It still has one action from its rare twist. So it will attack our little short king over here.
No.
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's go. One successes, so I will roll the damage. And it's a 9. I think you have lost all your first 1 bar of stamina,
I have.
which means you restore it all to 20, and you gain Wounded 1.
Sure.
Wounded 1 have no effect mechanically right now, but it may change some behaviors of monsters. The bad things will happen when you are wounded too. This was a monster turn, and I think only Kerry hasn't acted yet.
Yes, Carrie is up, and there's some damage being done to my companions. People are being frightened, people are being wounded. This cannot stand. I would like, if I spend one action to move into range 1, am I close enough to whack it in melee
Yes,
range?
range 1 is a strike range.
All right. So picking up my pan again that came flying back to me after that surprise round attack, I'm going to use one action to stride into range 1. And then with holding the handle of my pan in both hands, I leap up, pull it over my head, and then come down with a mighty blow that costs me 2 actions to do this.
All right, mighty strike. Here we
And
come.
I'm going wild on this one. So usually I would have 3 on a mighty roll, but that means I only have
only
2
2.
on a mighty roll.
And if you lose, the whole group loses 1 harmony.
Let's see. Well, wouldn't you believe it? It's a 1 and a 2 on my 2d6.
And you don't
And
have, well,
A little
You-
cursed.
very, very cursed.
harmony lessen by 1.
As I just like do not, instead of hitting the creature, I come down full force and just on the moss right next to him, like gunk, the pan in the ground.
All right.
That's my turn. That was 3 actions. I'm so sorry, guys.
It's
This
okay.
is such a shame. Really such a shame. Give you. And this is the turn of the monster.
By the way, how's the monster looking? Is it looking
Well,
wounded,
it
freezing?
is wounded, yes. You have managed to remove the first health bar. So it is wounded and the leg is broken. This is big damage.
Okay.
So yes, good job for that. In 1 turn without any of, and you are relatively fine. So let's do a little swifty damage. It only has one target, and it's a failure on the monster part that doesn't manage to hit you with the tongue. Good job. New round. The monster focus goes back to Kerry. And you can decide which one goes first again.
Sisa can give it another try.
All
You
right.
are still frightened, Sisa.
I
You
believe
can
I
make
can.
assurance to yourself with 3
Yeah.
stamina.
I would like to spend the stamina to make the assurance roll. I will do that very quickly now.
You can use any style you want.
I will be precisely assuring.
You can be calm, assuring, but yes, precise.
All
I
right.
am not frightened by a fraud. This is a fraud. This is not the
I
big
am
monster.
I am surrounded by people I love and people who love me. It will be okay. That's a success. I have 2 6s on the roll.
You, well, with only one on the frightened, you remove frightened effect.
Okay.
No matter, I mean, you did, as long as you don't have one on the action dice, is good.
All right. That was not an action, right? That was just a
No,
skill check.
that doesn't count as one of the 2 actions.
Okay. We're going to do one more precise attack then. So I have 4 actions this round because we're
You
prepared
have
the
4
previous one.
actions because you are prepared.
Okay, precise. Let's go precise. Precise attack. Go. That's another success. 6 to 4.
So, do you have a shot?
Yeah.
You have one shot?
Yeah, I have long shot. I have a range of 3.
No, but in your skills, do you have shot at one?
In my skills, do I have shot as one?
I don't. I need.
On your character sheet at the top
your
under your
character sheet at the
skills,
top.
there's
I
a
saw-
shot skill.
Yeah, I do have a +1 to shot.
Alright, so the 4 can become a 5 and become 1 more successes. So you could either use it to increase the result of the damage die or use one of your traits. You can. I invite you to roll first the action.
I will.
Just to-
I will. Did I declare whether it was going to
you
be?
didn't draw wild, so the 8.
So the 8. Fair. That's a 4.
Alright, so do you think it would be better to increase this to 5 or to use one of your traits?
5. Let's go to 5.
Alright, so 5 damage. A precise, which part did you attack?
The foot is gone, so let's go for the tongue. The leg was
Okay.
gone, right? So
The
tongue.
legs are broken, you don't need to deal with those anymore.
Cool. And with my last 2 actions, I'm going to try a mighty blow.
Alright. Mighty shot, go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna get 1 die for this out.
And this is double damage.
I rolled a 5 on my
This
1
is
die.
a success on the
Okay.
action die.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll my trait. So that's the 8. Come on. 2 low dice.
2
But it's doubled.
multiplied by 2 is 4.
Oh, I'll take it. Thank goodness.
This is a monster turn that will act the poor, still exposed Markus. Or rather, Kerry. Let's try a tricky one.
Yes, and let's also keep in mind the time for the stream because it is getting
Yes.
late. So we're doing dramatic. So
Oh,
hit Sisa hard. Let's see what it goes.
so I have 1 success, so I can deal damage to poor little. This is a 3. This was a tricky attack that did 20 on the die.
Oh.
But since you only, but actually it's good for you because expose is gone. You just lose 10 and you go back to 20 with wounded 1. The damage doesn't carry over.
Good to know. Let me remove some of my damage.
Okay.
Yes, that's why I said it start back at 20. The damage doesn't carry over. Once you lose Alba, is you're done. You start again. It doesn't. I don't believe it counts as drawing back for. Usually, at least I don't for this.
Carrie gets that big hit in the air. We hear like there's a groan coming up from her. She slides a bit back, wipes some blood off her face. What else do we have?
And I do the short things? Yes. No. Actually, it swift drive is passive speed damage to this creature. No, it's working. Yes, it's just good lashing. It just tough touch you. This was the one action for this turn. Next one. So between Kerry and Ning.
Ning, you want to go?
Sure.
They are doing good. They are doing good.
All right. In the with what's happening in the game and also what's happening in real life, I have a gambit that I will propose to you. I want to using whatever abilities I can, probably swift, sprint, jump up onto the frog, sprint across it with my twine, and mash, like jump onto the ground and try to mash it into the earth such that it is further restrained and potentially our NPC friend Haiti can come in next turn or the turn after. Is that possible?
You know what? I like that idea. I will let you do it for 2 action on your part.
Sure, I will.
With a swift, and you still do the damage. So swift strike that will, but this will. Well, so no. So since this is a swift strike, so 3 action total because I will add. This is 2 basic plus the effect, the dramatic effect.
Sure. So all
Let-
three of my
let's-
actions,
let's do all
wounded
3.
one.
If you are
Let's
fine with it.
fucking go. Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right.
Fuck it.
Do
So
it.
Three,
Do it.
3d6. And
Do you go wild for this one?
Do it because Raiders
yeah,
came in.
fuck it. Why not?
Let's go wild.
Because this
Let's
one, like
go
something, you
wild.
should use haste or another one. Also,
Yeah, haste for
so
sure.
2 dice and the d20 for damage. Go for it. 5 and 6.
Is there a way for me to increase the dice?
Do you have point in strike?
No, I have a point in craft, display, and traversal.
So no, there is no way for you. What did you roll?
3, 4, 8.
Well, the main things are the 3 and the 4. And since you go wild, I will lessen harmony by 1.
Mm.
This was a gambit, and
It
before
was.
jamming, there's a risk of failure.
We take this.
And now it is the monster turn to attack Markus again.
Oh.
It is one basic target per round. Let's do. You know what? Let's do some more things. Let's do a swift grab. Let's try this one with only 1 die. I have good bonus in grabbing, but I roll just below the point where it can be a success.
Oh, that's so sad.
That's so sad. That's so sad. This was the monster turn that failed his 1 action.
All right, that
And I
means
think you
Carrie's
are
the
the
only
last
one.
in this turn.
Yeah. So as Carrie's like avoiding to be grabbed by this frog monstrosity, she like has the pan in one hand, and I do 2 actions first to like just with one hand this mighty blow, trying to
Alright.
now hit. I'm going wild again. Mighty blow, so I'm reducing my 3 to 2 dice, and I gotta roll higher than a 2 at some point.
Maybe
I?
my
I
roll
will
was so shit that your roll will be better. You know, maybe
This
I
is a
encourage
person that
you.
rolled 4-1 on the start.
Let's
So-
go. It's a 4 and a 1.
I am so
you go-
driving
and
to
you
your
have no
house
point
and
in
getting you
strike.
new dice.
I don't have any skill points that matter here. I don't have points in strike. I don't have points in shot. So it's a 4. It was an
Oh.
11 on my wild D20.
It would have been good. It would have been very
Yes. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Mm.
good. The harmony is that go.
Oh, wow.
Right now it does nothing, but the next time you lose harmony, that will be hard.
So with this missing blow, as the pan just goes wide, Carrie is like legit getting annoyed, and there's
Yes.
like there's like almost like steam coming off of her as
You need to change dice.
she's like frowning, but she looks at the monster, but also at her friends, and it's kind of this annoyance radiates off of her as she also ends her turn.
Mhm.
You still have one action.
I still have one action. I would like to spend one action to buy new dice. No, I'm going to use one action
Prepare.
to. Yes, good one. I'm going to prepare, just going to inhale, exhale, gather that frustration to get an extra action next round.
All right. I will try the one again. No, you know what? No, I will just do a regular strike. A success. So let's roll damage for poor little Markus to add insult in injury.
Not to carry. I
Not to
attack
carry.
your life
No.
points directly.
I attack you for 12.
12. That means I would go 1 bar down again.
You're
So I'm on my
wounded
final
to-
bar.
Yes.
You are 1d2. 1d2 has an effect. When you are 1d2, what is the effect again? Because I didn't rehearse. You can't spend stamina to use things. And this is your last health bar. I didn't use a full turn this one. No problem with that. Start of the round again. No one is caught. No one is exposed. The last one to move. So the trick is Ning Ao is a new target.
You want to also kick it off, Ning?
Sure. Gosh, I don't know what else I can do.
Is there something we can do to go big or go home, essentially?
Yeah,
Try for mighty. Try for mighty blows.
I have one mighty. I can go for
You
it.
should try to go for it. But this is a main big thing that
But-
could help you right now.
But narratively, let's say that the mighty blow doesn't.
Narratively, let's
If the
do a
mighty
personal attack.
if the mighty blow doesn't land, is this like we need to regroup and go back to the village and try again?
You can. There is a retreat. There is a retreat possible.
Okay.
Which
That might be considering also that we're kind of noticing also maybe the tension in our group from all of this not working.
yes,
Maybe that's like, especially now with Hedy here, who is seeing all of this happening.
Watching from the bushes. Just
Yeah,
clusterfuck.
I think like above the table, can we just like draw the conclusion that there was already one wilder who fell to this creature? We know this is a big danger. It's not connecting. We need to regroup. We need to fall back.
If this hit isn't successful and takes out the monster.
Sure.
yes, you should defeat the monster. If Markus hadn't failed his blow last time, it should have defeated the monster.
Okay, so we need one mighty blow to land, basically.
All right, I have one in mighty. How bad could it possibly be?
Don't talk like that, darling.
Just
And
one
you
D6?
have a point in strike? I don't think so.
No.
Nope.
No. So 5 and a 6, 1 in a 3 chance.
Ning, think of the wedding soup. Let its power
of the
flow
wedding
through
soup.
you.
It's a 5.
Ah!
Oh my god! I don't know how I.
Now it's a matter of rolling the D8.
Okay,
a D8.
just roll it good.
Because you didn't go
Again,
wild.
think of the wedding.
Brother!
I
you
can see the result.
It's an 8!
Yes!
KO.
Nice! No!
It is enough.
How is this? How does this go down?
Do
Well,
you want to narrate it, Arsene, or shall I? Up to you.
this is your moment. I will just remind that there is a little Eddie that saw this. You don't want to steal the kill from Eddie.
Sure. So the pan is still embedded in the ground. Carrie has a hold on it. The monster is flagging, but still able to do a lot of damage. And Ning Ao realizes in this moment um, that two things have to happen. We have to secure the creature, and we have to deal it a blow to knock it low enough that Haiti can come in for the kill. And so what happens is, Carrie, you feel like a bit of twine like swing around the handle of your cast iron pan, and you just see it lift up off the ground and just slam across the creature. The frog tumbles to the ground, not deceased, but a little stunned, and we call out to Haiti, "This is the fucking time. Take your arrow." Arsene, take it away.
And it is takes and with all this grief, he doesn't take the bow with it. No, he takes the arrows and just jump to the monster and try to. Well, it's difficult to have a net when you're, but attack around the heart and fist. And while they do this, they just cause this sort of primal scream of grief and rage against the killer of their masters. And suddenly it's like not exactly the puppet drop his string, but this sort of weight that just left. Suddenly and suddenly the shoulder.
You did good, Hedi. You're a hunter now. Stand back, and Sisasawa mentions everyone to move back and starts burning the corpse, because we've learned that
You need to cook the monster to cure it, really, of the
Mhm.
meat. So this is the last thing I will ask. This is a moment in here of the Wilderfeast where there are some mechanics in it, but mostly this is a monster big frog. You have access to any ingredients. Basically, you can take the time to find them. What do you cook with this monster?
Well, frog is a very slippery protein. I think that things that treat it well are things that will draw out the slime, like okra, and also spices, which we need a lot of salt and a lot of spice for a frog this big. I wonder where we could possibly find it.
oh dear.
Yes.
This frog is also giant. I think starting a quick smoke and a quick brine to carry a lot of it will be back. So it's not just cooking and eating, but preparing it to be taken to be further prepared. So there's a lot of quick drying and skinning, and the flame and the flamethrower on low, like, consistent heat to really dry out this meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as it's also dried out, Carrie is already putting some of the salt on it to kind of also conserve it, to keep a little bit of taste to it as well, while also giving Hetty a bit of a rundown that everything that just happened in this encounter is not something worthy of emulating on his own hunts, as we all work together to prepare this meat.
Yes. I almost. This is normally the one where you get. So I will just ask this one. From this monster, what do you take for you as abilities, sort of? What do you want to take from this monster to better yourself?
The mimicry, of course.
The vocal mimicry is a trait that you can have. So imagine your character gains the same ability.
Hmm.
Carrie would love to have that tongue.
Well, this
Hey, yo.
this is not among the things you can do. This will not be mechanical, but you can have a little longer tongue if you want.
If I can't have like a mechanical longer tongue, I'm gonna keep that tongue as a shawl, as a scarf.
Yeah, Greninja
With
type.
Greninja.
Yeah.
It always goes back to Greninja. Sisasawa is going to have more powerful legs, because it's been a chore dragging this flamethrower around. Stronger legs to hop and aim the fire, but it would be really handy.
And that also means that Sasani can hop along with Ning as well.
We have to finally
Yes.
hop together.
Aww.
Oh,
And this is how we maybe patch some harmony. We
Isn't
we
that like a nice shot to end on, to have Ning and Sasani like hop together?
But
Mhm.
we're also hopping finally at Carrie's eye height.
Yeah.
We can finally have a conversation at the same height.
As we like hop and walk off into the sunset,
yes.
having overcome this wilder feast.
What nerds.
You nerd. This wild feast, no idea. But yes, you ate good.
Yeah, we
Was
did it.
game. Holy
Woo!
moly. Food. We
Food
became what
is
we
good.
ate.
Are you
Food
ready for
is-
sign-offs, Arsene?
Almost. What do I have to sign? What do I? Where do I sign? Wait, no, it's not a bank contract, so no. But thank you for playing. Thank you for your wonderful characters. Thank you for this nice little game.
Where can people on the internet
As
find you, Arsene?
well, well, almost every. I am usually you can find me as La Gallery Holist on Blue Sky. You can find me as Arsene Inc on Tumblr. I am also on itch.io as Arsene Inc, as where you can find my own games that I try to make with love and a lot of mischief. Where
Excellent.
can we find you, Luyou?
Hi, I am like a mud and thatch hut in the Amazon. I have no plugs. The only thing I will say is if you are interested in supporting queer creators this month, please check out Pantsless Tables. They are doing a Pride multiple day live stream. It would be great to support queer and trans people at this time. Please consider it. Thank you.
Hi,
Marcus,
I'm
go ahead.
Marcus?
yeah, I'm going. Hi, I'm Marcus. I'm being taken by surprise by Luyu's great comparisons. But when I'm not taken by surprise by Luyu's great comparisons, you can find me on the internet as the Chindividual. I'm on Blue Sky, and I can also be found on YouTube under my channel, The Chindividual, where I make video content about TTRPGs, mostly on Pathfinder. If you're interested in that game, I have lore, I have deep dives, I got all the videos there. So feel free to come out and check out my content. And thanks very much for having me at this table and playing this game. Aida, I have a suspicion I know where we can find you, but tell us, where can we find you?
Hi, I'm one of the co-founders of EU4 here, and we are a community dedicated to uplifting and spotlighting the diverse and talented community that is located outside the US, namely here in Europe, because the center of the TTRPG universe is not in the US. This channel, this game, this table, Arsene and DICED came because we had thoughts, opinion, and passions about different food cultures and the way they come together in as immigrants, as people outside the US, as different perspectives. That's what our tables reflect, and that's what this whole channel reflects as well. So thank you for the entire initiative. For this whole month of June, we're also going to be having a lot of Pride celebrations. Absolutely check out Pantsless Table. Pantsless is a good bean. We're going to have a talk here on being transgender and TTRPG Pride Joy. We're going to have all queer tables as well coming up this month, such as Deathmatch Island and an all non-binary cast of Monster of the Week as well game coming up this month. So keep your eye on the socials for that as well. If you're watching this and it is still June, please consider voting for us for Crit Awards. We are nominated in 2 places. One for best upcoming Twitch channel. You're watching us on Twitch. Thank you very much. And we are also up for best accessibility and safety as featured in one of our games, a Blades in the Dark game. But we do this across all of our tables, all of our games, and all of our community is a really important track to us. Other than that, support your local community. It's Happy Pride. It's Pride Month. All love is valid. Transgender rights are human rights. And fuck farts. I won't even call them turfs because they're farts. They're farts.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. No, they can get fucked. Don't fuck them. That's gross.
Yeah,
Yeah, better.
Okay.
Alrighty.
That's about it. Holy
That's
moly.
about it for everyone.
We did it.
We did it. Thank you all for being here for this special episode of DICED. And maybe we'll see each other later for more food. But let's be honest, on the Discord, there is one discussion about food once per day at least.
Hmm.
So
That's how it is.
that's
Thank you
how
so
it
much.
is with foodies. Thank you all for being here and good night, everyone.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.